Thank you very much. So before we start, for the sake of protocol, I would like to remind us of our diplomatic clap. So can the secondary school students and university students that know what to do give a round of applause? So you tap on your tables. Can we give ourselves a round of applause? Thank you very much. We've done very well. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, our dear students. Good morning, those from the agencies. Good morning, our directors. We are very honored to be here. I would like to stand on all existing protocols because right now I'm just so overwhelmed with what's happening this morning. Thank you very much for your time. I would like to apologize that if I don't want to apologize that we started late, I want to thank everybody for coming. Thank you all for all effort that you have put in. For those that missed their way, thank you for still making our time to be here. Good morning, everybody. This moment has been a long time coming, and I'm thrilled to finally be here. I would like to express my gratitude to each of you for making the time to join us and make today a success. My name is Valentina Ofiepre Uchebu Ni Amiebi, and I'm the Executive Director and Co-Founder of the Africa Young Diplomats Forum. Our organization is dedicated to empowering the next generation of African leaders through diplomacy. We believe that true success lies not just in acquiring knowledge, but in applying it. Our maiden edition kicked off with a 2-day diplomatic simulation for secondary school and university students, focusing on the poverty crisis in Africa and the African Continental Free Trade Area. The students demonstrated remarkable eagerness and dedication, producing outstanding resolutions that will be shared with relevant authorities. Today's theme and topics are deliberately chosen to spark meaningful discussions. I'm grateful to our keynote speakers and our distinguished guests, renowned experts in their fields who will share valuable insights and answer pressing questions. Africa is blessed with immense potential waiting to be unleashed. Some may ask, why Africa? Why not Nigeria? And our response is, if Nigeria thrives, where will it flourish? We need the entire continent to prosper as we are integral to the whole. Please get comfortable and join me on this journey of enlightenment and discovery. So I'd like to introduce our guests. In our midst, we have the representative, she's stepping in, the representative of Her Majesty Olori Atuwase III. She's the wife to the Olu of Warri Kingdom. We have Ambassador Professor Tunji John Asaolu. We have Professor Jonathan Aremu. We have Sir Emmanuel Ewodage. We also have Mr. Mohammed Wase, the Coordinator, Youth Engagement and Inclusion Unit of the National Orientation Agency. We also have Hajia Maimuna Musa Adaji, the Head of Department and the Director of Corporate Affairs and Information Department of the National Productivity Center. Now, Miss, we also have Ambassador Young Pierrot, Jet Age Nation Builders, Africa. He's also the Coordinator and Director of the Parliament for Africa, Caribbean, and the Pacific Joint Session. And we have Brigadier General Orali Lukman Oloko. He's the consultant of the Nigerian Army University. Thank you once again for your time. Thank you very much. So next we would kick off with our opening speech by His Excellency Ambassador Dr. Elijah Onyagba. He's the former ambassador of Nigeria to the Republic of Burundi. He had a family engagement, so he's not able to be here present, but his heart is here and he has taken time to make a video for us. Thank you.
A very good morning to you all. My name is Ambassador Elijah Onyagba, the Nigerian past ambassador to the Republic of Burundi. I want to start this morning by appreciating. A very good morning to you all. My name is Ambassador Elijah Onyagba, the Nigerian past ambassador to the Republic of Burundi. I want to start this morning by appreciating the organizers of this program for the vision that they have for ensuring that the young ones are brought to speed with respect to what the vision for Africa 2063 agenda is all about. I also would like to express my gratitude to them for finding a body to be giving the opening speech in this very wonderful location. I'm truly, truly very grateful. I also want to appreciate other distinguished speakers that are here today with us that will be speaking on various topics. Thank you so very much for accepting to be here. It is indeed an honor to be speaking alongside with you. To the other esteemed guests, you're very much welcome. And to the youths, the reason for which we are all gathered here today. I say a very big thank you to you for taking our time out of your various busy schedules to be here. My sincere apologies for not being here in person. I unfortunately lost a cousin of mine who we are laying to rest today. That actually necessitated my absence. Other than that, I should have been here in person. And I look forward to further engagement with you, as we move along sometime in the near future. Yes. I understand that the theme of this event is the Agenda 2063, the Africa that we want. The Agenda 2063 is a blueprint for Africa's transformation. It envisions a prosperous and integrated continent with shared destiny. The vision is to achieve a peaceful, prosperous, and integrated Africa by 2063. Of course, this is a Pan-African vision. The Agenda 2063 is a bold plan for African unity, for the development and prosperity of the continent. It aims to transform the continent to a global player. The idea is also to achieve sustainable development, because if you read the plan, you'll find out that it calls for a sustainable and inclusive economic growth driven by innovation, technology, and most importantly, human capital development. It is actually for Africa's transformation. The vision is to create a continent where all the Africans, or where all Africans, all the citizens of the continent are empowered to reach their full potential. Of course, there are challenges that are facing these agenda. We must always talk about them, because for us to get to where we want to get to, we must also project into the future, look at the challenges and hurdles that we face, and find something that we can do to ensure that we come through with those challenges. And challenge number one is that of infrastructure. Infrastructure is a big problem in Africa. Road infrastructure, health infrastructure, education infrastructure, all of these are lacking in the continent. I mean, this agenda envisions that for Africa to be united, for us to have a prosperous Africa, there has to be improvement in our infrastructure. For all of the things technology can do for us, technology can fast forward you, can actually make you come up to date. But the truth of the matter is that infrastructure, you cannot gloss over them. We must find a way to connect, to build connecting roads and infrastructure that will take products from our farms to the industries. We must find a way to ensure that we have connecting routes from Cairo down to Johannesburg, and from Gambia straight to Tunisia, to countries like Tanzania. And we have to do this real quickly. There has to be a trans-African highway that will make it easier for us to trade amongst ourselves, that will make it easier for us to move from one location to another within the continent. We also have to improve on transport infrastructure. One of the major challenges we have in the continent is that it is actually very difficult to move around within the continent. If you want to move from Nigeria to, say, South Africa, or to, say, Zimbabwe or Zambia, you'll find out that sometimes it takes you 2-3 days for you to move from one location to the other. Even though you are also using airplane to get involved in that. In some funny cases, you will have to fly from Africa, out of Africa to Europe, and then back to Africa for you to get to your destination. And this is a major problem that we have to deal with. Limited infrastructure, including railways and energy, hinders economic growth and trade. And this is a challenge that we must look forward to addressing. Trade barriers is also another challenge. We have had a situation where the 54 of us in this continent actually have about 42 different currencies. How are you going to be able to trade? So if I fly from here to Ghana, I have to change my currency, my Naira, to Ghana cedis. In some cases, move from Naira to dollar, and then from dollar to Ghana cedis. How are we going to be able to trade under these circumstances? So it's a call for action for regional bodies like the ECOWAS, and like the SADC, like COMESA, like EAC, the East African Community, to begin to work together and find a way of ensuring that we have common currencies within the region. Within West Africa, we can actually come to begin to use one currency. Within SADC, they can actually come to begin to use another currency. So if we look at it, we can have a situation where we will not have more than easier. There are also custom issues. There are also tariff issues. When we move from one country to another, there has to be a point where we begin to unify, find some common grounds where we'll be able to improve on custom-related issues to be able to trade amongst ourselves. Intra-African trade at this particular point in time stands at 15%. And when you go to continents like Asia, Americas, and Europe, it's about 60%. So the volume of trade that goes on within the continent is just 15%. And there's no way we can achieve our full potentials as a continent if we do not do something about this. And that is the reason why the setting up of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement has become very important. And every African must support this initiative so that we can begin to trade amongst ourselves and begin to improve on the continent's economic powers. The regional bodies must also do whatever they need to do to support one another to see that we improve our size of markets. When we trade amongst ourselves as a continent, we have a market of 1.3 billion people. And that 1.3 billion people, if they begin to produce things and sell among themselves, that will eventually get us to becoming one of the world economic powers. We also have challenges of political instability. If you look at what is going on in some of the African countries, we witness coup d'etats, and some of the reasons why this happens is as a result of poor leadership and bad governance. When we dig deeper, we find out that democracy, which is meant to provide dividends, democracy, which is meant to provide good governance, is heavily lacking. And then over time, people become disenchanted, and you see them actually crying for any form of leadership that is not democracy. So this is a call to action for African leaders and politicians. That we must do everything possible to provide effective leadership for our people. And that in itself will find a way to ensure that we do not have so much instability within the continent, because we can't achieve our agenda if there's instability. We must also leverage on the opportunity for African integration. We must harness technology. This is the global age, digital age, where a lot of technology is being brought to bear. A lot of digital options are there for us to improve on our daily lives. Digital technologies can bridge infrastructure gaps and also enhance connectivity and in facilitating trade. We also find out that we must do everything possible to promote intra-African trade. This is at the heart of the development of the continent. Investment in human capital cannot be understated. Africa has got a population of about 1.2 billion, out of which 75% of that is under the age of 30. This is a young population. This can actually be transformed into something that is heavy that will help the continent. So we must, in everything that we do, try to do everything possible to ensure that we improve on our human capital development. We must also look at strategies like PPP to be able to overcome our infrastructure challenge. We must also look at regional infrastructural development. Countries that are in regions can come to find a way of ensuring that infrastructure that cut across the countries within the continent are done in a joint manner. We must also leverage on innovation and technology to be able to do all of this. We must have trade facilitation, we must have investment promotion, and we must ensure that every player in this space is working together to ensure that we achieve the Africa that we desire. In conclusion, realizing the Africa we want is actually following Agenda 2063 to the letter. It offers a roadmap for a transformed Africa by addressing challenges and capitalizing on opportunities. we can build a prosperous and integrated continent. The future is in our hands, like our boss Elumelu will say. Thank you very much for granting me this opportunity to speak with you. Wish you the best of the deliberations. May God bless you. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. May God bless the Nigerian youth, and may God bless Africa.
Wow, that was enlightening. So many of us are passionate about Africa, and sure we heard everything from what he said. So I would like to recognize the Director of Africa Affairs from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Safiu Olukayode Olaniyan. Thank you very much, sir, for creating time for us. And then the representative of Olori Atuwashe, Ogechukwu Ezeobiora. She's the Chief Operating Officer for Elevate Africa and the Royal Livery Foundation. So I'd like to introduce Ambassador Professor Tunji Saulu for his opening remarks. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for bringing me to the podium. You will permit me to also stand on the existing protocol with a specific focus on those on the high table. Glad sitting closely with my father, Professor Jonathan Aremu. For those of us that not know Professor Jonathan Aremu, is the pioneer vice chancellor of Covenant University. And of course, currently a consultant to ECOWAS, and is also the chairman of Africa School of Diplomacy and International Relations. You are welcome, sir. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, distinguished delegates, esteemed youth leader here present, and our students over there, ladies and gentlemen, it's still morning, I will say good morning. I am deeply honored and privileged to stand before you today at the Africa Youth Day Conference, a gathering that serves a beacon of hope and inspiration for the next generation of African leaders. The theme of today's conference is tagged as Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, overcoming challenges and harnessing the opportunity for Africa economic integration. This resonates profoundly with the aspirations and ambition of our continent, Africa. As we look toward the future and factualize the Africa we want to see on or before year 2063, it is imperative that we recognize the vital roles that young people play as the driver of change, progress, and innovation. We, the youth of Africa, are not just the leaders of tomorrow, we are the leaders of today, capable of shaping the destiny of our continent and realizing the vision of Agenda 2063. The agenda itself is embedded in the young people. When we want to change the narrative, and of course we have to cap them, where we are young. We are seeing the journey of 50 years from 2013 to 2063. You also agree with me that a child that is 10 years old today, I think we have spent almost like 13 years or 11 years thereabout of that agenda. So we have almost 39 years to go. So if a child that is 10 years old today, at the end of that agenda, if you have 10 years plus 39 years, that is 49 years. So that child should be old enough to run with the agenda of the continent and to represent the continent anywhere in the world. So The journey starts now. To achieve the Africa we want, characterized by peace, prosperity, unity, and sustainable development, we must harness the energy, creativity, and passion of our youth. It is essential that we empower young people to actively participate in decision-making processes, policy formulations, and implementation strategies that drives Africa economic integration and inclusive growth. Young people are not just beneficiaries of development initiative. We are catalysts for transformations and progress. By investing in education, skills and development, entrepreneurship, and technology, we can unlock the potential of Africa's youthful populations and unleash the waves of innovations and excellences that propel us towards a brighter future. You know, it is not properly right when we think that youth are not part of those in existence. So we just believe that whatever they were able to give to them. I think it is the higher time for us to sit on the right table and see how we can talk about the shared prosperities. Because whatever we are in the world is for all of us. So let's know what is even the percentage that even go to the youth. It's only women we are talking about 35% affirmative action for. What about the youth? So it's better we also share it so that all of us will know what belongs to us. The African Union Agenda 2063 encapsulates the collective dreams and aspiration for a united, prosperous, and peaceful Africa. It is incumbent upon us, the young leaders of today, to take ownership of this agenda, champion its implementation, and ensure that the forces, interests, and need of the youth are at the forefront of Africa development trajectory. Let us seize this moment to collaborate, inspire, and mobilize our peers toward building the Africa we want, a continent that full of opportunities, shared prosperities, and inclusive growth. Together, we can overcome challenges, harness opportunity, and drive Africa economic integration toward a brighter, more sustainable future for all. I urge each and every one of you to embrace your role as an ambassador of change, advocate for progress, and architects of the Africa we aspire to create. Let us stand united in our commitment to realizing Agenda 2063 and shaping a better tomorrow for generations to come. If we can also hold our government accountable, the whole agenda is a framework. There is not even need of even duplicating any of that agenda. If what we can agree here today is for us to come out with a position that all the governments in Africa should use Agenda 2063 as a benchmark for development. And I think on or before the year 2063, we will see Africa being seen as a United States of Africa, and the generation to come will live forever to appreciate us for this work well done. So I ask you to relax, just enjoy the rest of the event. I know that there are a lot of speakers here. I know what they have, what they can also deliver to us. So please don't miss it. Try to listen and gain something. So thank you very much. May God bless Nigeria and God bless Africa.
Thank you once again, His Excellency Ambassador Professor Sunji Asaolu. Standing existing protocol, my name is Sadiq Musa Babalola, and next on the agenda is the opening remark, so the keynote speaker, where I'll be inviting Professor John Aremu, Professor of International Relations, Consultant to ECOWAS Commonwealth Investment Market. Topic will be the role of regional economic communities in achieving African integration and FCFTA. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Because of time limit imposed on me, just permit me to stand on the existing protocol. I appreciate the organizer of this program very timely, very exciting, and it's something in which we shall have a lot to be able to celebrate in future. I think we can shoot. Okay. My presentation so that you'll be seeing them. Okay. Yes, I appreciate that. Okay. Yeah, but it's not changing. It will. Will it? Okay, thank you. Once again, I appreciate all of you for being here, particularly the organizer of this program, and inviting me to be able to be here to look at that subject matter, which people have been talking about, the role of economic integration of the entire continent. Africa, we have no option to do this, and the time is now. If we refuse to do it now, then the future is not guaranteed. So I appreciate you for that. And that is why this particular assignment is given. Because of time limit, as I said, let me just go ahead and look at the outline of my presentation. Why the basis for economic integration? We are going to look at that. How does economic integration works? So that you are going to know what we expect from integrating Africa. And then we now look at the emergence of African economic integration from where we are from the beginning to where we are now. What benefit? Oh, I put Nigeria there. I'm sorry. What benefit does Africa have in African value chain creation? That is, by making sure that the production activity actually cross our borders and consumption activity cross borders as well. What's the role of regional economic integration? That is, ECOWAS, SADC, EAC, COMESA. What is their role? And then I conclude. So, position of where we are in Africa, the basis for African economic integration. Just look at that statistics of there. It's not something that is good at all, right? The continent has approximately 30% of the remaining earth's mineral resources. That is nearly a third of all the resources in the world. Over 40% of the gold is up in the entire global space, 60% of cobalt, and 90% of what God has put in the planet Earth in terms of platinum. Yet, Africa is the poorest and the most underdeveloped, despite these huge resources which God has given unto us. And that is why we have some people, some head of state that has actually given us some information. And look at the two of them. The former head of state of Kenya, he said there cannot be any reason why we are trading with other parts of the world, but we are not trading among ourselves. So also the past president of Ghana, re-echoing that this was the dream of our founding fathers, to see an Africa that can trade better among itself. This can only be done under an economically integrated Africa. And therefore, there is urgent need for African economic integration. Now, how does economic integration works? We need to know. Let us assume this. I used to call people out because of time limit. Let's just look at it quickly. We are going to have a product. Maybe this is the product A. And the price, let us quote it in dollar. Don't worry. We put dollar so that we can actually not discriminate between one country or the other. Let's put a totally different currency outside Africa. And let us see 3 countries, 2 in Africa, 1 outside Africa. And let us assume that at a later time, Nigeria and Ghana, they are going to go into economic integration. But let us look at the production cost of this product across Africa and across up to China. That particular product costs $50 in Nigeria, costs $40 in Ghana, but it costs only $30 in China. China is the cheapest world producer of that product. And therefore, if Nigeria did not want to actually buy any of these products from any part of the world, all they need to do is, let's say they put 100% import duty, and that is what we see in Timbuktu. With 100% import duty, then the price in Nigeria will be the cheapest. 100% of Ghana will move the price to $40. 100% on China will move it to $60. But again, let's look at another table, table 3. That instead of 100%, Nigeria just put a 50%. Then something is happening. With 50%, the price will be now be $60 in Ghana, but China is going to be 45. And then Nigeria is going to be what? 50. Which means that Nigeria will be buying from China and still be collecting import duty of 50%. But let's see the last scenario in which Nigeria and Ghana are going to economic integration. And that's in table 4. So we now have the cost price, $50 in Ghana from Nigeria, $14 in Nigeria, and $45 in China. Why 45 in China? Because import duty of 50% is still imposed on China, whereas the import duty on Ghana has been removed. With this one now, Nigeria and Ghana can go into economic integration, in which Nigeria will now be buying from where? From Ghana, and not from China. But if you are thinking fast, you will discover that for buying from Ghana, we are losing the import duty. Therefore, in every economic integration, there is loss of revenue. Therefore, the ability to be able to gain from economic integration depends on how much you can produce. If a country goes into economic integration without productive activity being put in place, then it's going to lead to a lot of revenue. And that is why quite some time now, I've been able to be addressing the entire Africa, the African Tax Symposium, to be able to educate their different countries so that the economic integration will not be a loss. Therefore, we need to put in place productivity opportunities and then concentrating on areas of comparative advantage. So Ghana will be buying, Nigeria will be buying from Ghana, but Ghana also will be buying from Nigeria, where we have a better production opportunity than that of Ghana. Now, two things will happen under economic integration. And this is tested in both theory and practical. Number one, economic integration will always lead to what? Trade diversion. We are diverting from China into Ghana. And as we lead to trade creation, we are creating trade between Nigeria and where? And Ghana. So the volume of trade creation must be more than the volume of trade diversion, because under the trade diversion, you are losing revenue. And that is why we have to make sure that the production capacity of countries going to economic integration must be improved. A lot of warning, particularly to countries like my country, Nigeria, that if you want, you are going to economic integration, but you don't have light. Hello? Then you may not be able to produce competitively, and you may not enjoy economic integration. Therefore, even God, before he can do anything, say let there be light. If we are not wiser than God, we have to make sure that as much as possible, the infrastructure with respect to light is put in place, so as not to actually make production opportunity to be too difficult. Let me just go ahead. There are 4 phases of economic integration. The first one that I've just explained is called free trade area. The free trade area is a situation in which the countries that are integrated among themselves, they remove import duty and every other thing that will not allow them to trade. And that's why we call it free trade, what? Area, free trade area. So under the example I've given, which is Ghana, Nigeria, and China, right? Nigeria and Ghana, they will be having free trade area among themselves. But Nigeria can impose higher import duty on China, and Ghana can impose a lower import duty on what? On China. So if this kind of a thing happens, which is not covered under free trade area, it therefore implies that some of the fast traders in Ghana, they can actually import certain things that are cheap from China and then put made in China on it and then sell it to Nigeria. And that is a trade deflection. So we have to make sure that under economic integration, issue of rule of origin is taken care of to make sure that trade deflection and dumping is actually checked. But the next phase of economic integration is customs union. Under a customs union is a situation in which countries that are economically integrating, they make sure that the import duty that is coming into any of the country is the same. It's the same. On January 4, 2015, ECOWAS reached a custom union phase. That's a common external tariff in which the import duty charged on any product that is coming to Nigeria, coming to Niger, coming to Ghana, coming to Republic of Benin, coming to Dakar in Senegal, they are equally the same thing. And that is why you don't see all those cars that have been brought from the Republic of Benin again. Why? Because the import duty will be the same. That is the second phase of economic integration. The third phase is common market. And what is common market? Is a situation in which the factors of production, the policies are harmonized. And when they introduced me, they said, consultant ECOWAS common investment market, which means I'm in charge of making sure that the investment market is common. I actually developed ECOWAS investment code, and I participated in developing Pan-African investment code, which we use for the after investment protocol that was actually put in place February last year. The last phase of economic integration is a phase in which not only do we have phase 1, which is free trade area, phase 2, which is custom union, phase 3, which is common market, but phase 4, which is economic union. Under economic union, you have single currency. I've had somebody that is talking online, talking about single currency. You don't go into single currency when you are in free trade area. You don't go there when you are in custom union. You even don't go there when you are in a common market. You only go there under economic union. And if you attempt to go there, that's a single currency, you will need to do a lot of policy convergences, which macroeconomic policy objective of the member state will not be able to permit. And that is why it's very important that you move this thing into phases. Now, let's look at the phases I've been talking about. Free trade area, you can discover is free trade, but common external tariff, no. Movement of factors of production, no. Economic union, no. Under custom union, look at the table. Yes, yes, no, and no. Under common market, yes, yes, and yes, and lastly, no. It's only under economic union that we have yes throughout in all those parameters of economic integration. Let me say this one. Whether it is ECOWAS or African Continental Free Trade Area, they agree on the movement of free trade area to custom union, to common market, and to economic union. So we have after now, which is African Continental Free Trade Area, which is the first phase. After this first phase, we are moving into what? African Continental Custom Union. After that one, we are moving into African Continental Common Market. After that one, we are moving into African Economic Union. But this has to be in phases. Let's now look at the emergence of economic integration of Africa. I'll be moving fast because my time is going. I've spent about 8 minutes, making 12. Okay. When the organization of African Union was put in place in 1963, our founding father has that, well, it's very important that after this colonization, we see how to economically integrate ourselves. Therefore, at different meetings, we have some revolutionary leaders, one from Ghana, the one from Guinea, Algeria, Mali, Egypt, that say, we have to do it now. It must be by force, quickly. We have another moderate leader that said, no, let's do it gentle by gentle. In 1965, you discover that a meeting that was held in Accra, in which Pan Nkrumah gave an address, particularly that his book that he released at that meeting, which is called Neocolonialism, the Last Stage of Imperialism, make some developed countries to be annoyed, and that actually kickstarted the end of Nkrumah. He was actually forced to go on exile and finally died. But African leader did not stop. There was serious OAU meeting in 1973, 1976, and that of Monrovia in 1979 continued to talk about economic integration. Because we have been integrated to our colonial masters. The ambition we want us to be heirs of wood and drawers of water for them, not to be industrial countries. And therefore, in 1980, a very important step was taken under the Lagos Plan of Action. We members said, let us concretize our economic integration. There's so much delay. And this demand was finally concretized under African Economic Community Treaty, which was finalized in Abuja in 1991, and it is titled that as a Abuja Treaty of 1991. The treaty has, in the objective, movement of free trade area, look at it in red, to custom union, to common market, and to economic union, which I mentioned. And it's going to be in phases, in stages. Stage 1, creation of regional bloc where it does not exist, harmonization of intra-regional activities and development and strengthening of these activities across these regional blocks. Then, stage 3, establishment of free trade area and customs union. Stage 4, creation of continental free trade area. So we are now on stage 4 of the African Economic Community Treaty of 1991. And then stage 5 is what? Is African Common Market. And then stage 6 is African Monetary Union and the Parliament. Now, despite this one, you can see that diagram, there is multiplicity and interlocking of regional economic community along Africa. In ECOWAS alone, we have other regional communities inside ECOWAS. So ahead of say, we may not be able to arrive where we wanted. Let us actually recognize only 8. And that is why in that table you can see the only 8. So in ECOWAS, where we have other regional economic community, when you look at number 6, it is only economic community of West African states that is recognized. In other areas, they recognize Arab Maghreb Union, Community of Sahel and Sahara, then Common Market for East and Southern Africa, and then East African Economic Community, IGAD and SADC. These are the 8 recognized economic community. So, and with these 8, ECOWAS want to move ahead and establish what? The establishment of the first phase, which is the free trade area of African continental free trade area. So there is a roadmap. We are going to start with the first phase of economic integration, which is free trade area. And then it started in June 2015. And then you discovered that negotiating group was put in place in February 2016. It's expected by the end of December 2017, we are going to have after. But we do not have it until 3 months later. That is on 21st of March 2018. Now, the signing and ratification. Signing of the treaty was done on the 21st of March 2018. Ratification was concluded when 22 members, which is mandatory, was actually achieved on the 30th of May 2018, and the last country was Sierra Leone that's going to it. Nigeria, our country here, Nigeria did not sign until July 7, 2019, and Nigeria ratified on 2020, December 5th. Now let me say this one, unless you ratify, you are not a state party. And therefore, when after took off on the 30th of May 2019, Nigeria was never a state party, and therefore she wasn't qualified to be able to actually tell they should select his country as a hosting the place, or select any Nigerian to be the Secretary General of African Continental Free Trade Area. Nigeria knows, so it's not that they are cheating the country. You are late comer. When you are late comer, you can't say you are going to take the first position. So after ratification, anyway, country demand that they have to put in place necessary infrastructure and necessary arrangement under that diagram to be able to make sure you benefit from African Continental Free Trade Area. After commence, January 1st, 2021, and then as at now, you can now see where we are in terms of ratification. 48 countries have ratified, 54 countries have actually signed. But you want to know detail, you can see the detail under that particular map. What are the benefits of AFTA? The benefits of AFTA, I'm going to explain it under that diagram you are seeing. The diagram is so there. Okay, let me put it there. Right. Let's say that we have a company in Nigeria. That company can have affiliate across African countries. Right? It can have in Tunisia, it can have in Togo, it can have in Egypt, Kenya, Senegal, and Ghana. And Nigeria can that Nigerian company can source input for any of those countries. So also can it sell its product to any of those countries as well, because the framework agreement has allowed that opportunity. So you can see a lot of opportunity of interconnectivity of activity in terms of goods and services as a result of African Continental Free Trade Area. So contracting opportunity, outsourcing opportunity, vertical economic integration opportunity, as well as homogeneous. So this will lead to a lot of benefits, which is being discussed in the next slide. So it will enhance international, it will promote vertical and horizontal integration, it will enhance efficiency, so many benefits. Because my time is going, you are going to be seeing them, as I believe that thing will be given to you for you to read. Now, what is the role of a regional economic community? This appears to be the center of what I should talk about, but I cannot talk about this one without first and foremost, actually, let you have those fundamentals I've been talking about. The regional economic community, which is second factor, are the official pillars of African Economic Community Treaty. That is, ECOWAS, SADC, COMESA, they are so important. They are through, it's only through the regs that AFTA can achieve what he wanted to achieve. As earlier stated, AEC was set up as a gradual process through coordination and harmonization, as well as postgraduate integration of activity of the 8 regs, not the so many interconnected regs with overlapping of jurisdiction of activities. Okay, therefore, Article 19 of AFTA agreement provides that state parties, that is states that ratified AFTA, that they can be members of other regional economic community and regional arrangement of customs union, and whatever they have attained, they should maintain it. Look at ECOWAS. We have attained customs union, but we enter the first phase of economic integration of AFTA, which is just the first phase. But that will not destroy what we have reached. So AFTA is not to destroy your economic integration, but use it as what? As a building block. That is very important. So that's a great role of a regional economic community. Article 8.2 of the Protocol of Trade in Goods states that state parties that are members of other regs, which have attained, among others, higher level of elimination of custom duties, should maintain that one. But going into AFTA, and then after itself, we equally go into the next phase, which is a customs union. 2 other protocols and principles, which are mentioned in Article 5, say that AFTA should also be governed by preservation of acquis and best practices. Acquis means your current position and best practices that are actually from international conventions which members have signed across the world. The question is, how will regs be blended into regional institutional architecture of AFTA and into continental integration schemes and action plan? Article 12.5 of AFTA agreement says, regs shall be represented in the Committee of Senior Trade Officials in an advisory community so that each of the regs can feel and act as necessary. Okay? What about the role of ECOWAS? Let's take ECOWAS as an example because I'm a consultant there, and what is ECOWAS doing? In ECOWAS, we have played a key role under the AFTA process. For instance, the ECOWAS Common External Tariff, which is the custom phase of economic integration, provided the basis by which member states entered the negotiation into AFTA. And during that entry into AFTA, the ECOWAS Commission, and quite a lot of us, we supported our member states. Particularly, I supported our member state on negotiation of investment because I developed the investment code for ECOWAS and then participated in the development of Pan-African Investment Code along with Wamkele, who is the Secretary General of African Continental Free Trade Area. He's a very good friend of mine. We work on Pan-African Investment Code together. We finalized this on 2015. So in doing so, the ECOWAS Commission was able to build its superior technical and capacity building activities across the member states. ECOWAS Commission also participated in a broad range of regional consultations during the ongoing negotiation of African Continental Free Trade Area. So we can see ECOWAS Commission have actually done a lot to be able to make sure that its member states, each and every one of them, they enter AFTA under a very good policy environment which they are familiar with. In fact, every mechanism for engaging regional private sector through the Federation of West African Chamber of Commerce, that's FEMACI, has helped to consolidate the activities of the private sector, and coincidentally, I'm a consultant to FEMACI as well. So on and on and on goes the activities which ECOWAS have done. But the main thing which I want to mention here is that the Commission equally uses existing instruments such as the Task Force of Free Movement of Persons and Goods, ECOWAS initiative relating to infrastructure projects, which somebody mentioned, as well as that of the Common Investment Code and policy. So not to bother you too much, what other things do we actually say can be used as a position of the regs in economic integration? Let me go to just to the last slide before we conclude. The regs are so important for successful implementation of AFTA, and therefore ECOWAS as an example has demonstrated this. I'm familiar with the activity of East Africa Economic Community Treaty. In fact, last year, I was with the Court of Justice, and I see what they are doing in terms of making sure that they actually adjudicate in economic integration cases. Just about 2 weeks ago, myself and some other professors, we have to get a training for the ECOWAS Court of Justice also, so that they don't actually go into adjudicating cases in a domestic environment, but looking into the cases that will affect diplomatic economic rupture among participating members of ECOWAS. Because with AFTA, our Court of Justice needs to be able to know this, and they have to be able to be ready for it. So, although some ECOWAS member states they have done some certain things in the past which violate the principle of economic integration, like when the Nigeria cross border. Some of us argue against it. In fact, coincidentally, that was the time I was training the custom people, and I talked to the head of customs, Colonel Ali. He said, what do we have to say? Thank you for training us. I said, the only thing I want to say is that under economic integration, you do close border. The man wasn't happy, but I'm not bothered whether he's happy or not. That is the situation. Now let us just conclude. From time independence, there are a series of failed attempts of African members say to industrialize. The time has come. Commencement with legal plan of action to Abuja Treaty of 1991, and then to the commencement of AFTA in 2019 May. And right now, we are there. In this country, Nigeria, we have National Coordination Office. Other countries have the same thing. And ECOWAS Commission is making sure that it plays its own part to be able to ensure that ECOWAS member states, the 50 members of them, they actually do their own individual role to be well integrated into AFTA. ECOWAS Commission equally respond to trade restrictive practices and making sure that members stay caution themselves. After we undoubtedly create winners and losers, therefore, regs are better positioned to be able to make sure that those the minimization of the losses and maximization of the benefits should be their sole priority. They can equally play the role of mediating disagreement among member states. Thank you for listening to me.
That was very enlightening. So we're having both the technical and the enlightenment, right? Are we still here?
Yes,
ma'am. If we're here, students, give yourselves a round of applause. Good. So next, we'll have a recap of the simulation we had. We're excited to see ourselves. We don't sound excited. We are, all right. Okay. So we'll have a recap. Simon, can you join me, please?
Welcome, esteemed delegates. Today we are going to have diplomatic celebration. I welcome this morning. Our occasion is the African Young Diplomats Forum, and we are focused on youth. We would love you to embrace this opportunity to develop essential skills in diplomacy, negotiation, and critical thinking. We will also encourage you to contribute meaningfully to Africa's development.
In 1924, there was an exhibition in the UK, and the Africans were represented typically as primitive, uncultured, unrefined people. Was one guy, a student. This student, his name was Sholanke, Ladipo Sholanke. He was really young. He wasn't happy about that exhibition. It took a student to write to the government of the UK to say what you're doing representing Africa as primitive is wrong. At the end of the day, he won. He went to court. It was based on that Ladipo decided that, look, if Africans don't fight for Africa, so students were the first set of people in 1925 to call for the independence of African countries and the end of colonialism. And the students may feel, oh, it concerns our fathers. No, it concerns you because your fathers have practically lived the quarter of their lives, if not more. You just believe and you have power to be able to stand and say, call for the prosperity of Africa, using African free trade, using music, using culture, using your social media and your voice based on what we are starting here about young diplomats will be heard at the African Union. Let us prove that a new prosperous Africa can start with students. Let us go back to 1924 and copy what Ladipo Solanke did to bring about the end of colonialism. We will bring about the end of poverty in Africa.
I want to talk about the problems of African countries and the solutions to them through collaborations and researches. I feel excited to be here to talk about national orientation agency. I'm excited to learn from other agencies and countries on how they can solve their issues with development.
The research topic for today is the poverty crisis in Africa and the Africa continental food route.
The aim of our book is to tackle the concerns and interests of our stakeholders, which are Ethiopia, Rwanda, NRA, and Uganda, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Affairs. And at the end of this, we hope to provide each and every one of us with enough solutions each and every one of our problems.
And this block isn't about resolution. So we are going to discuss our crises and to bring evidence. My name is Chimaka, and I'm here at Diplomat Deputy for Burkina Faso. My boss here, we are helping countries like Cameroon, Rwanda, and helping each other go to places for struggling. So for me, my country, Burkina Faso, is to provide security, police force, and training to all qualified youth for Cameroon and Rwanda. And in return, we are asking and requesting for like technological know-how from Rwanda in helping our country develop and grow.
My name is Helen Dakoje, and I am a representative of Mali, and I'm also here to give my experience on the event in Nigeria. My experience was absolutely amazing. I loved hearing everybody's opinions and their thoughts on how they can help their own respective countries. I really hope I can come here again.
I guess it's afternoon now, so good afternoon. I would like to also stand on the existing protocol. I'm here to just recap on what we had on the 24th and 25th of October when we had the Young Diplomats simulations. Before I go into it, I want to ask, is there any 10-year-old here? Is there any 10-year-old? I hope we are not too late to catch them young. According to Professor Asalu, by 2063, the 10-year-old will be 49, right? Which means a lot of you here, secondary school and universities, you're already old. You know, by 2063, many of you will have longer and whiter beard than myself. So we need to rush to ensure that we're able to actualize Agenda 2063 for the good of Africa. Now, on the 24th, we hosted secondary school students, and we were quite impressed with their performance. Somebody mentioned and said that he wished we had invited one or two of our honorables and distinguished senators to come and see how the students were making their presentation in Parliament. And on the 25th, we hosted the university students, and they were also outstanding. Some of the things that we did, having introduced the simulation, the goals and objectives, the processes, we gave a motivational speech in the context of late barrister Ladipo Solanke, who was the founder of the West African Students' Union in the British Empire, 1924-25, where he was able to get the British government to apologize to Africa because of the presentation that was made regarding Africans in an exhibition. And that was how, between himself, Kwame Nkrumah, and Nnamdi Azikiwe, they began to mobilize Africans for independence of Africa. And this was well received by the students. Our executive director guided them through the simulations, letting them know what the goals were and the objectives. And the students all made their presentations based on the countries that they represented. They were able to look at the opportunities embedded in those countries and the challenges for development. And they were also able to identify countries that they could partner with. And then the negotiation section took place, where they traded their competitive advantage to be able to get votes from other countries. I wish we had Professor Aremu's presentation then. You can see that, like we said, you don't give for free because there will be disruption of your policies. So you look at your advantages, you look at your competitive advantages, and on the basis of that, you're able to trade relations with counterparts. And then the students all went into voting, or the representatives went into voting for their resolutions. After they had negotiated, we formed blocks, and each block made a presentation of their resolutions, and they were all voted. The resolutions were quite educative, and we intend to forward this to appropriate authorities. We also looked at certain areas of facilitation, discussing protocol. When you are a diplomat, how do you act? How do you behave? How do you process things? What kind of language do you use? How do you brand your country and even brand yourself as a diplomat? All that were well received by the students. And after the resolution, the voting and the presentations, the high table was able to make a selection. And based on this selection, some students will be receiving award today. Basically, that's the recap. Thank you.
Drink laptop per screen.
Thank you very much. All right, so in continuation with our thought process regarding what we just heard, would like to have Ambassador Safiu Olaniyan, the Director of Africa Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to speak to us. Thank you.
Royal Highness, distinguished fathers, professors, young diplomats, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ambassador Safiu Olukayode Olaniyan. I'm a diplomat. My goodwill message will center around what I've heard in this hall. I'm not going to invent anything, but I'm going to be a little unconventional. I will dwell more on what is practicable and not the textbook, because the practice is far removed from the textbook. When you get out there, it's a completely different ballgame, because every country has its own way of negotiating, and the goal is to do the best for their country. So if this is a gathering of young diplomats, then I will be speaking to the young diplomats. First, the Africa we want is ours to build. And at the center of that, of building that Africa we want, are going to be diplomats populating the space. If we go back to when Nigeria was to be, it was started by people who acted as diplomats. And that was where we came from. For us to move forward concretely, that is where we also have to be. And for us to get to that future that we want to live in, that is where our dream should be. Since you can't clap with one hand, you need others to get to where you want to be. You need others within Africa, you need others outside Africa. Because at the end of the day, everything in this world is about how you manage others. And if you don't manage them well, then they will manage you the way they want. Which in any case may result in creating the Africa they want and control the narratives, and you play to the gallery. Today, as we speak, most of our education curriculum are drawn up by some other people to fulfill their own purposes. And we play to it, whether it's mathematics, it's English, it's law, it's whatever it is. It's not our curriculum. I remember there was a time when Lin Kuan Yew came to Nigeria in 1967. He was in Nigeria, he was in Ghana, he was in some other places. Nigeria and Singapore got their independence around the same time. And he came to find out by 1967, how far has Nigeria gone? How far has Ghana gone? And when he got to Nigeria, then we had UI, and he realized that the Vice Chancellor of UI was an art graduate. The Vice Chancellor of University of Ghana, Legon, read classics. And he went on like that. Then at the end of his tour, he asked, how do you expect these universities to produce builders? When those running them, their vision was to produce administrators. which those who set them up prepared them for. So we improve our faculty of arts, and so we churn out administrators at the expense of building. And up till today, that is still the narratives. An average Nigerian still does not believe that a Nigerian can do it. If you need an engineer now, they will say, oh, it's an international, whatever, let everybody bid. At the end of the day, we are most likely to believe in that engineer that came from without. Meanwhile, we are the one to live with what they build. They will charge us for coming. They will charge us for discharging. They will also charge us for using it. So what have we gained? Singapore did the opposite. And today their story, we know what it is. So to start with, if you want to be a diplomat, you've got to have the courage of conviction. You've got to talk to yourself and say, do I believe in what I want to do? If you believe in it, if you are convinced, then you can convince others. But if you are not convinced, then it becomes then say. And that won't take you anywhere. Because you will see diplomats from other countries defending the position of their country with utmost tenacity. You would think their life depends on it. Once upon a time in Nigeria, Africa, the whole of Africa waited for Nigeria to speak. I remember the speech of Nkrumah, the speech of Muritala Muhammad, EU, and all that. And after that, no one said nothing again. But somehow, we slided. We decided to backslide a little. Whereas we are created to lead. If you take the map of Africa, put it on your table, it looks like a shotgun, isn't it? Visualize it. Since you don't have it, put it on the paper, put it on the desk and look at it. Where South Africa is, looks like the nozzle of the gun. Where West Africa is, looks like the butt. That's why you see ECOWAS doing all kinds of things. But where the trigger is Nigeria. So you can look at it again at your own spare time. So no matter how beautiful a gun is, if you don't pull the trigger, nothing happens. It's just a pack of metals. Those who know, those who have knowledge about kinetic actions and whatever, they know what it means. It will just be looking at you. You put it there, it's there. It won't do anything until someone pulls the trigger. So Nigeria is the trigger for Africa, and you are the ones who will remain where we are. We can have African Continental Free Trade Area. We can have OAU. We can have AU. If we don't change the narratives, we'll keep on having the same result. So the peaceful, prosperous, and integrated Africa that we wanted by 2063 is not going to happen because we wish it. It's going to happen if we work hard at it. And I mean, really work hard at it. We have to be convinced that this is the Africa we want. The only reason why God put us here in Africa is to make it a little better than we met it. And if we can't do that, then we have done nothing. And I mean, if we abandon this Africa, for those of us who have traveled, when something happens in Nigeria, you will see every Nigerian out there telling you what is happening at home. And I do ask them, which home? Well, you guys belong here now. We are the home base. We belong there. So we are the one that should worry. They say, no, our parents are there. I say, really? But when they want to talk about Nigeria, they say, that country. So the narrative we give to them is that, look, that is your inheritance. That is the only country you own. That Africa is the only country you can lay claim to. Any other place you are, if even they give you their passport, just misbehave a little, they can kick you out. Straight, they will not even think about it twice. So whether you are planning to Jakpa or Jakpada, whichever way it is, this is the only Africa you own. And whatever you make out of it will be yours. Anything else is a borrowed garment. And when it pleases them, they will show you the way to your father's house. That's the way it works in international politics. Anywhere you are, if you want to be a diplomat, one, be ready to have that courage of conviction that yes, I am a Nigerian and the change begins with me. Development normally is driven by human. Out of everything I've heard, the most important thing I want to drive towards is the human capital development. No matter how beautiful the technology, without human is not useful. So we are the greatest asset Nigeria has. It's not technology, it's not anything else. It is the population of Nigeria. And every country, everywhere in the world, the youth have played a major role. But it has to be under the guardian of the elders, because you may have the energy, you may not know the way to where you're going. And that is where some of us differ. When they say, no, the elders should step aside and then the youth should take over. To go to where? Do you really know where you want to go? So you may not like where the elders have taken us to today, but that is the best they can do. Everybody have their own challenges. You never know what they face. You never know the challenges they face. So it is not enough to say that, oh, they failed us, because they deliver based on the opportunities available to them. Now is your time, and you have no choice than to deliver. So I will urge you not to see problems in Nigeria, because everywhere you go, there are problems. Anywhere you turn to, they have their own kind of problems. I can tell you there are more crimes in some other places than in the whole of Nigeria. Yes, crime is part of, there will always be bad guys. That's why we will always have something to talk about. If everybody is good, then we will stop thinking. Some people will even have no job. So some elements of bad guys also make life go round, because it keeps the good guys thinking. Normally, they say that evil thrives because good people do nothing. So there will always be that, you will always see it, but the question you should ask yourself is, where do you want to belong? Do you want to be part of the problem, or you want to be part of the solution? So if you want to be part of the solution, don't see problems, see challenges. And we have more than enough in Nigeria. And in those challenges, seek opportunities. And you will get to wherever you want to go. When COVID happened, some people were busy dying, but some people were busy making money. Yes, a lady in Norway came up with the idea of face masks made out of fabrics. And we were busy lamenting here. And people were busy sleeping in the hospital. Nobody knew what to do. And you are there, everybody's clapping. And then some people were doing politics of vaccine and so on and so forth. So that lady started it, made so much money during COVID. She did not die because she has made up her mind that her goal was not to die. That she will live and she will outlive COVID, and she will make use of that opportunity, because it was an opportunity. But the question is, what are you seeing? You only see what you want to see. And it is what you see that defines you. So you can continue to see problems for as long as you want to see problems. If you go to the village, you will see your contemporaries who look twice as old as you are. Why? Because they are weighed down by problems. That is the only thing they see. And they think the solution to all their problem is money. But it's their head. They're using their head wrongly. Some people are using their head only to decorate their body. And if that is what you are doing, then you are not thinking. Because most human elements are using less than 10 or 20% of what they are capable of doing. We all sit down and lament. We don't think. Some people think of going to space. What do we think of doing? We are still trying to find route to our villages, while some people are running to space. So is that how we are going to build the Africa we want? So it is a challenge that AU has thrown out to all of us alive, not just the youth, all of us alive. Because for those of us who are a little older, we also have to ask ourselves, where we are today, was that what we planned? Is where we are today where we plan to be? If not, then we also have to key into the agenda. If we throw it at the youth alone, they may have the energy, they may not have the capacity. So we have the capacity, but we may not have the energy. So we have to put the two together to be able to recreate that Africa that all of us want to live in. And I can tell you, like the Prof said, Africa is the only country that still has resources. But the tragedy of it is that everything is being made to convince you that you can't get to where you want to get to by merely having resources. But they want to keep you where you are by taking your resources and impoverishing you. I saw a video that said the byproducts of fuel alone can pay for the petroleum, can pay for the PMS. So which means somehow, if we all think outside the box, things can be better done. But if all we do is lamentation, that alone won't take us to where we want to go. Because one, like I said earlier on, you can't clap with one hand. Everybody thinks that, okay, it's the big man that has to fix Nigeria overnight. It's not going to happen. You know, some people think, oh, it's the governor that is going to fix their state. It's not going to happen. I tell people that every Nigerian has a little piece of Nigeria on his shoulder. So the big question we don't like answering and we don't like asking is, what are you doing with the Nigeria in your hand? Because it's the aggregation of what we do that will transform Africa, that will transform Nigeria, that will transform your family, that will transform your household, that will transform your neighborhood, that will transform the region. If on the other hand, we believe that it's some people who are to build it and we will come and live in it, it will never be built. Because whatever some people come to do, whether they give us money and they say they will build the infrastructure for us, they build the kind of infrastructure they want to benefit from. And when we were young, they say, and if even you give hoe to a stupid man, he's going to weed the soil towards himself. Even a stupid man, he won't do it like this. He will do it this way. So to himself. So it's like if you get a loan of 10,000 naira at 1% payable in 10 years, calculate what your compound interest will be. And imagine, why is it that the financial world will ask you to pay the interest first up front before you pay the principal? That is what they eat. But you are happy, you're thinking of today, you're not thinking of tomorrow. Yes, today you may be happy, but what about those who come after? So, development is driven by human capital and human elements, as I said, and their mindset, their capacity, their drive, their conviction, the will to achieve success will take them to where they want to go. Other than that, if we concentrate on building roads, which is good, build road for whom? If you don't build the human element, it is the human element that will destroy the road. We have seen it. We have seen people cutting light poles, rail, whatever. They go and remove it and they carry it. Somebody even attempted taking a railway coach. Yes, it happened. Railway coach. And he attempted loading it on a trailer to be taken to somewhere else. And he was dropping names everywhere. So, technology, yes, technology for who? For what? Where they want to use it. We all have Android phones. But if I ask you, how many of those icons on the phone do you really know how to use? Only very few here will know how to use 5. By the time you know where you press it and it calls. WhatsApp. What else? Only very few people do LinkedIn. Email. What else do people do? Instagram. TikTok. Finish. But go and check China. What Chinese do on TikTok. Is that what we do? They sell. They do business on TikTok. They don't watch video. They have no time for it. They want to make money. They want to make their own life. They want to make things a little better than they made it for themselves, and they know that on the aggregate, it will be for everybody. But if all you think, one of the basic things that we did that is dangerous to us is transferred income. That's one thing we know how to do very well in this place. We know how to transfer. Everybody knows how to transfer funds in this country. What we do on the app is to transfer funds. So most people live on transferred income. And they think that is life. Sometimes we say, yes, money from abroad, they are bringing so much money. Yes, but where does the money go to? Cooking pot. So you eat the transfer from abroad, but we like the statistics and say so many billions or trillions of dollars came from the diaspora into Nigeria, but what is the effect? Where is it? Yeah, somebody transfer money for Ileya festival, for Christmas, for somebody who was sick, whatever. At the end of the day, the money looks huge, but where is it? What is the effect? Don't worry, I'm finished. So, in summary, all that we dream of, all that we want to achieve, all that you see that is not right with Nigeria today, I can tell you what is to correct what you perceive as not right. Because it is a game of opportunity, and it's also a game of what you do and your conviction that this Africa, we're going to build it together. I thank you.
Very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Ambassador Prof, please can you hand over the award to Ambassador Dr. Safir.
Your Excellency, we still have to have you here, please. I was asked to present this award to you. So on behalf of Africa Young Diplomat Forum, I'm sure that the young people is appreciating you. And this is to say that we want to have you very close to us. We don't want you to be far away from us. You have a lot to give to us. You have seen it all. So on their behalf, I'm presenting this award of appreciation to you. Please don't be far away from us. Thank you very much.
So thank you so much. I do appreciate. I hope I'm not too old to be a member. So
no, as a patron, you can be a father.
So I'm in. I don't have a problem with that because we're all in it together. We don't have any other place to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, outside. Okay, you have to. Oh, sorry.
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much. I spent a few minutes in an ambassador's office and I left there with a lot to think about and more drive for this vision. Like he has also said, what we're doing today is for tomorrow. The vision of AYDF is to put in your hearts what our fathers are doing, what they've already done, so that when it's your turn, you're already enlightened and you know what to do. Nothing is going to get you unawares. So please, we have people in this room that on a good day, you wouldn't even get to hear their opinion about things or what they know of their expertise. So please take advantage. Don't look at the fact that, it's Friday, I'm tired. No, this is an opportunity for you to grow. This is an opportunity for you to take your lives to the next level. So please, I hope you're taking notes because you have your memo pads and your pens, so there's no excuse. Let's take advantage of our special guests here. Next is, we'll invite Her Majesty, Olori Atuwase III, the co-convener of Elevate Africa, the Africa We See. And she'll be speaking on leveraging on cultural diplomacy to achieve African integration. She'll be represented by her Chief Operating Officer, Madam Ogechukwu.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Standing on existing protocol, I would like to bring very warm regards from Her Royal Majesty, Olori Atuwase III, the Queen Consort of the Warri Kingdom. She is very much delighted to have received this invitation, and she's honored to be speaking to such young and bright minds. I would like to also appreciate the Executive Director, Ambassador Valentina Ofurekpe Uchegbu, alongside the board and the advisory board, and other excellencies, dignitaries, and of course, the young minds who were here to celebrate today. I read her speech. From the office of Her Royal Majesty Olori Atuwase III, Queen Consort of the Warri Kingdom, Delta State, Nigeria. Honorable guests, esteemed dignitaries, excellencies, young diplomats, and my fellow Africans. It is an absolute honor to stand before you today at this significant gathering of bright minds, future and current leaders of our continent. I bring warm greetings from the Warri Kingdom and His Royal Majesty, Ogiame Atuwase III, CFR, the 21st Olu of Warri Kingdom. On this Africa Youth Day, my heart is filled with immense hope as I think of you all seated here, our continent's torchbearers. We are all here today not only to imagine, but to begin to create and continue the work of a new Africa, an Africa defined by unity, resilience, and progress. Today's gathering, inspired by the vision, the Africa we want, is metamorphosing into the Africa we see and the Africa we are developing. It is my understanding that this shared aspiration is not just of me, but of everyone seated here today. It is a vision that seeks to transform Africa into a beacon of global influence with a future rooted in our collective strengths and talents. We are at a pivotal moment in history with an extraordinary opportunity to reshape the narrative of our beloved continent. One of the cornerstones of this transformation lies in African economic integration by harnessing the force of our traditional heritage for cultural diplomacy. Cultural diplomacy as Africa's soft power. In the realm of diplomacy, culture is often an underestimated force, while trade agreements, economic policy, and political alliances are vital and are at the forefront. It is without a doubt our culture, shared values, languages, and traditions that bind us most strongly as Africans. Cultural diplomacy is the soft power that fosters unity, bridges divides, and provides fertile ground for sustainable development. Africa's cultural richness is unmatched, from the vibrant markets of Lagos Island to the ancient streets of Timbuktu, from the rolling hills of the Serengeti to the artistry and storytelling embedded in each of our unique communities. Our continent is a mosaic of the artistry that God created through languages, tradition, and history. Within this diversity is an opportunity to utilize our cultural heritage as a solid foundation for dialogue, as a solid foundation to foster respect and collaboration. How can we think that they would see us, recognize us, if we would not tell them who we are authentically and stand in our strength? Unity is the lifeblood of Africa's progress. Economic integration cannot succeed unless we see ourselves as one people with shared goals that is borderless. You are not a Kenyan or Gambian or a Nigerian, you are an African. Our cultural diplomacy will allow us to nurture this unity by celebrating our individual identities, but embracing our common humanity. Our traditional leadership structures, monarchies, clan leadership, grassroots leadership, play a critical role in this process. In Nigeria, for as long as we have been united, the monarchy, traditional leadership systems, cultural systems have been a symbol of continuity, bridging our past with our present, and guiding our communities towards the future. In the Warri Kingdom, as it is in other cultural centers across Africa, traditional leadership stands as a custodian of cultural values, ethics, and wisdom. Our traditional institutions are the historical bearers of peace and unity. They embody the voice of the people and provide a common ground where cultural differences are honored yet transcended into indigenous solutions, into sustainability for growth, and into a oneness of the people. This form of leadership, while a dying form now in Africa that is supposed to be a continent of kings, this leadership can unify within and outside our borders to foster exchange that encourages solidarity and mutual understanding amongst our nations. Integration isn't merely a political ideal, but a lived experience built on relationships, shared goals, and mutual respect. The role of cultural diplomacy in fostering integration is fundamental. By embracing our diverse traditions and sharing our cultural assets, we deepen and catalyze collaboration across African borders. Grassroots, state, and national programs that promote knowledge exchange, languages, and cultural festivals serve as a platform where young Africans can connect, learn from one another, and grow as ambassadors of a united Africa. Such initiatives, whether government or privately owned, should be strengthened and supported to scale up beyond its current capacity. This forum is one of such initiatives. Other initiatives like Elevate Africa and Royal Aware Foundation, initiatives of the Warri Kingdom monarchy, embody these values. At Elevate Africa, also known as We Elevate Africa, we are creating platforms to empower young Africans, telling stories that reflect our culture, our resourcefulness, and is apt to rewrite the African narrative to emphasize our capacity to lead, innovate, and unite across ethnicity, across tribes, across nationality, and across gender and age gaps. The Royal Aware Foundation focuses on the human capital and economic empowerment of the Warri Kingdom and the wider Niger Delta region. Through grassroots strengthening initiatives on education, empowerment, and environment, His Royal Majesty and I strive to uplift our people by drawing strength from our cultural heritage. A case study is the Royal Aware Foundation Scholarship Fund and our free school located in Iyara community in Warri, through which we are raising future leaders from underserved, rural, and riverine communities through the power of education, culture, history. We are instilling in them the ability and platforms to become ambassadors of African values and innovation everywhere in the world they find themselves, which is also my desire for every young African in this room listening to my speech. Economic integration isn't sustainable without regional stability and cooperation. Conflicts are often born out of misunderstanding and a lack of exposure to each other's culture. If you go to the West within the Nigerian context, it is expected of you to genuflect when you greet an elderly person. When you go to the East, most likely you would find able-bodied men and young girls standing to greet with dignity and pride. If an Easterner went to the West without an understanding of these cultural nuances, while he stood strong to greet an elderly person, they would assume he were rude or ill-mannered. Now take this context and apply it to several conflicts, issues that are born and bred within Africa and that spill to outside its borders. It's no different. Cultural diplomacy, knowledge transfer can bridge these divides, allowing us to address disputes not as adversaries, but as partners who understand and respect one another's heritage and identity. Through cultural exchanges, we can bring and build leaders, artistry, academics, and the youth to create opportunities that transcend what we have been able to do. The future leaders are not coming tomorrow. They are here, they are now, they have been born, and it is our responsibility to root them in their cultural heritage, to help them understand where they come from. For a man or woman without history cannot forge a good future. One of the most remarkable examples of the African cultural influences I speak of is the global spread, acceptance, and imitation of the Afrobeat music. It has bridged cultural divides and inspired people as far as the side of Asia. Yes, if you go on YouTube, you would find some very interesting videos of Asians dancing to Davido's music, or repeating word for word a Fela song. I kid you not, you should try it. It's really humorous. And all of these things towards what goal? Towards the development of Africa, towards the recognition of African brilliance, and towards the creation of tables that include Africans, that are built by Africans and for Africans. Imagine then the potential and the impacts if we're able to harness this cultural power across other domains. Imagine we're able to replicate the world's acceptance of our Afrobeat music in business, in education, in technology. As we implement the African Continental Free Trade Area and increase inter-African trade and collaboration, these are things we look forward to. To the young diplomats here today, I am especially very proud of you. Any young person who would agree to be seated in the current world of distractions is somebody who's been trained well, who understands where they are coming from, and is willing to go far, not just alone, but together. So I implore you to see yourselves as ambassadors of the African culture. What is the African culture, you might ask? That is something that needs deeper insights. It needs a thought process. You need to sit down and think, what kind of African do I want to be? Then only will you be able to answer that question. Please use culture as a bridge, not a barrier. Your tribe, your culture, where you're from, is supposed to be a gateway and not a barricade. As you fan the flames of the vision which this forum is preaching, you must always remember that every diplomatic relationship is strengthened when built on mutual respect, cultural appreciation, and a shared vision for Africa's future. You are the architects of the Africa we want, I have no doubt. And you are the cultural diplomats, and your most effective tool in overcoming challenges which you will encounter on your journey to developing Africa is a lack of understanding of your culture. But if you know your culture, if you regard your culture, and you are able to understand other people's cultures around you, unity and integration is what awaits you. As we celebrate the Africa Youth Day, let us renew our commitment to elevating African voices, solutions, and innovations. Together, through cultural diplomacy, we can dismantle outdated narratives that has kept us divided for far too long, and instead write a new story, one of unity, progress, and shared prosperity. At the institutions which I have founded and led, we are answering this call by supporting leaders, thinkers, and builders of tomorrow. I also invite each of you to embark or support other people's journeys who are channeled towards this vision as well, to make cultural diplomacy the foundation of our integration efforts, and to create a future where Africa's unity is its greatest strength. Thank you all. God bless the Warri Kingdom. God bless Nigeria, and God bless Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Majesty Olori Atuashi III, for the enlightening speech. And next on the agenda is the award presentation to students on diplomatic categories, which will be executed by the Executive Director of the African Young Diplomatic Forum in person of Ambassador Valentina.
All right, thank you very much. The first category will be to our special guests. We would like to ask Emmanuel to give us the honor for the, to present the awards.
It's with pleasure that I present this award on the behalf of African Youth Diplomatic Forum to Professor Tunji Asalo. Prof, if you may. Professor Asalo is the Chief Executive of African Diplomat School, which awards certification for executive masters. He wears many caps, and he is also a stakeholder in the African Young Diplomatic Forum. Professor, kindly have this from us. All right. So I'd like to also present this award to Prince Charles Booker. He's an enthusiast of the African Young Diplomats Forum based in Sierra Leone. He's not able to make it to this meeting, but on his behalf, I call on Ms. Fatima Jallo, who is the country manager of Africa Young Diplomats Forum, Sierra Leone. I would also like to make this presentation to Her Majesty, Queen Consort of the Warring Kingdom. She will be receiving this Executive Secretary of our organization. Please.
Thank you very much, sir. So we're going to be giving the awards to the awardees. Are we excited? All those of us that did the work, Should we take their words back? Are you sure? All right, so the awardees for so we're going to start with the Certificate of Excellence. And we call upon the Hajia Adaji from the National Productivity Council to please present the awards on our behalf. We're going to call the first recipient Derek Taffa, simulation representation of total energy. Derek Taffa. So Derek Taffa represented Total Energies, and he was among the sponsors of their resolution. Derek Taffa spoke well, and they represented Block 1, and their block was voted as the best resolution for the simulation. Let's give them a round of applause.
You don't know what?
Next, we call Goma Aguirre,
What did they wait for now?
representative of Cote d'Ivoire. She's the co-sponsor for Block 1 for the secondary school simulation. We'll go get them to you. She's technically teaching.
Tana, what call you? And say that I put it at it. Yes. No, please. They go down here. Go call.
Sir.
Goma Aguirre was also a sponsor for the Block 1, and the resolution was voted for and it passed. Let's give a round of applause. Samuel O'Malley, representation of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Samuel O'Malley was a sponsor for Block 2. He participated actively and stood out. Samuel O'Malley. Let's give him a round of applause as he comes out. Congratulations. Next up, Sophia Lakali, Wando PLC. Sophia Lakali was a co-sponsor for the Block 2 resolution. She participated actively Sophia Lakale Owando PLC. Next up, Shekinah Adeleye, representation of Ghana. After Shekinah, Fatima Hussein. Let's make it quick. Shekinah Adeleye is a representative of Ghana, and she was sponsored for Block 3. Shekinah Adeleye. Next, Fatima Husseini, UNICEF, co-sponsor for Block 3. Very active participant. Next up, Gift Vincent, representative of Kenya. I see the surprise on her face. They didn't have enough time to prepare their diplomatic simulations, but she stood out. So today we're giving her certificates of excellence. Gift Vincent. Next, Chiamaka Ogu. She also participated actively. Chiamaka Ogu, Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso. Can we have Saobi Nauchebu? All right, thank you very much. So next we have recipients of the Certificate of Excellence for University. And this will be presented by the Director, National Orientation Council, National Orientation Agency. The first recipient for the Certificate of Excellence is Rabia Jafar Jidado, representative of Ethiopia. From the round of applause we can get. So she was a sponsor. Next, Awofesho Toluwanini, representative of Cameroon. Next up, Adeze Ike Asie, representative of Ghana. Next, we have Moses Okoroma, representative of Burundi. Every student did very well, but you know that's what I always. But everybody here is a winner. Moses Okoroma after Adeze K. Asie. And this is a simulation that will continue to go on, so we all have opportunities to shine. French. Bonjour. Representative of Burundi, Moses Okoroma. Esther Adesoye, Senegal. Esther Adesoye, representative of Senegal. Next, Halima Sadia Mustafa, representative of Mali. Is Sadia here? Next, Eperetu, representative of the Gambia. Okay. Okay, so I would like to even apologize. I'm sorry, sir. Introducing the head of department of international relations, now university. He has been a part of everything we've been doing, so I see him as AIDF. Apologies, sir. We honor you. Thank you so much. So he'll be collecting on behalf of. Okay. So we'll be collecting on. Oh, Hawa will be collecting on behalf of. Yes. Eperetum Boroteye, representative of Gambia. Next, Esaogene Awotohe, representative of Nigeria. Come. Oh. Mali. Yes. All right. So she's collecting on behalf of the representative of Mali. Esaogene, representative of Nigeria. Yay! Next, Chisom and Nichebe, representative of UNICEF. Congratulations. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. So next, we're going to have the awardees, those that stood out. There are different categories: the outstanding diplomat, the outstanding negotiator, outstanding leadership, the best diplomatic stance, and the best diplomatic personality of the year. Are we ready? All right, Simon, what can we have the honors, please? So for outstanding diplomat, Aisha Mohammed. Secondary school, Aisha Mohammed. Representing the Democratic Republic of Congo. Is she here? I saw her. Okay, so while we're waiting for her, Samuel Omole. Samuel Amadi, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, outstanding negotiator. Okay, Aisha Mohammed is here. Outstanding diplomat. Congratulations. She represented the Democratic Republic of Congo. Go and shine, you're our stars. Ministry of Foreign Affairs, outstanding negotiator, Samuel Amadi. Next, outstanding leadership, Kailanda Goje. From the claps, we did something right, didn't we? Let's give him a round of applause, Goje. Next, diplomatic stance, Philip Ojonugwa, representative of Uganda. In fact, I wanted to go to Uganda after I heard it. Congratulations. I use different today. Congratulations. So for the best diplomatic personality of the year, drum rolls, Derek Tafa, Total Energy.
And also to quantify.
Derek Tafa, Total Energies, best diplomatic personality of the year.
My name is and I'm honored to represent Total Energies as we discuss the pressing issues facing Africa. Total Energies is a multinational integrated energy company which is involved in oil, natural gas, and renewable energy. We aim to transition to a more reliable energy future.
Congratulations.
Sub-Saharan Africa remains the region with the lowest amount of electricity in the world. According to the International Energy Agency,
thank you very much.
About 600 million people, nearly half of their population.
So next, the categories for university students, we'd like to call upon Ambassador Young Pero
to see that the root cause of the
to present their awards
and poor standard of living in these countries is due to their lack of energy.
Whoever is giving this, is handing this award to,
energy, when
you go back, the whole body will be shaking because this man is fired up. So outstanding diplomats for university category, Esaogene Owatore, representative of Nigeria. Congratulations. In fact, you did well. Yes. Because if Nigeria did not stand out, we'll lock you here. Outstanding leadership, Moses Okoroma, representative of Burundi. Outstanding leadership. Best diplomatic stance. There's Ike Asiebu, representative of Ghana. They really worked hard. Congratulations. Outstanding negotiator. University category, Chiso Manichebe, UNICEF. Thank you very much. Congratulations. And the best diplomatic personality of the year, Halima Sadia Mustafa, representative of Mali. There was a final negotiation she did that made her stand out. So I've been authorized by my partner, the co-founder, to declare. Now all awardees will have the opportunity to attend the Africa Young Diplomat Youth Conference in Sierra Leone with special support. Thank you very much, sir. All right, so next, with all the excitement, we're going to go into the next keynote speech by our statutory board member, Sir Emmanuel Ewabodat.
Okay, can I have it on me?
Okay, while I'm waiting for my paper, I just want to emphasize this, that the simulation, okay. All right, so everyone is a winner. Just to reemphasize that the simulation was a platform to help students be able to identify problems, which they did very well. They identified the problems of their countries. And it is also a solution-driven platform. They were able to identify solutions for those problems that were identified. It was also a platform for decision-making through consensus building and Africa integration. So they identified individual countries and solutions, and they had the presence of mind to be able to negotiate. And through consensus building, they formed blocks, and those blocks were able to present resolutions. And also, it's a platform for positive developmental clubbing, youth clubbing. So we want to use this opportunity to encourage those present here and those who are not here to see the AYDF as a platform, a preferred platform for youth clubs activities. My keynote address, when I was preparing this paper, I was thinking more about the students, how they can assimilate what I want to speak through. For the adults, I think it will also benefit you, even if I have watered down the language that I would have loved to use. My paper is on balancing Pan-Africanism and nationalism to achieve economic integration, the role of African youths. Pan-Africanism, as defined, embodies the rich history and culture of Africans past to present. It is rooted in antiquity and champions the values born from African civilizations and the fight of emancipation, first from slavery all through colonialism down to neocolonialism and racism. Its goal is to foster unity among all people of African descent, including those in the diaspora. Pan-Africanism is based on the belief that African people all over the world share a common history and destiny. This idea led to the creation of the Organization of African Unity in 1963. So what am I saying here? All I'm saying is that there has been, from time immemorial, a grouping of Africans, to try to emancipate themselves, first from slavery. Africando Equano and others fought for slavery, even when they were slaves themselves. Having been emancipated, they now fought to emancipate others from slavery. Marcus Garvey and such like names you will come across when discussing Pan-Africanism. Then you have the Ladipo Solanke and the Nnamdi Azikiwe and the Kwame Nkrumah fighting through the platform of Pan-Africanism, fighting colonialism. So after slavery, they had to fight. And down into the 60s, the 70s, the early 80s, even to present, we're trying to use Pan-Africanism to fight neo-colonialism and the endemic racism. So that's Pan-Africanism. Now let's define nationalism. Nationalism, however, is a broader concept that applies to every race and culture. It is the idea that a nation should align with the state, promoting the interests of a specific nation to achieve and maintain self-governance. Nationalism aims to build a unified national identity based on shared culture, ethnicity, language, and history, advocating for national unity and solidarity. So nationalism didn't start with Africans. The Europeans came together during the Napoleonic Wars to fight for their independence against France. The Greeks, way back, you have the Spartans, the Athenians, and all of that. So nationalism goes beyond Africa, unlike Pan-Africanism, which is an African thing. Now I've defined these two to give you an idea of the differences, because we have to balance these two to be able to achieve African integration. Without a proper balancing, there can be no African integration. So the question that begs for answer is whether it is possible to be both Pan-Africanist and nationalist at the same time. For while Pan-Africanism has aimed to decolonize, unify, and solve Africa's colonial and other socio-economic challenges through a united front against the Western colonial powers and other agents of oppression and racism, nationalism often poses impediments towards integration by prioritizing the protection and desires of individual nation states from the point of view of the stance of their heads of government. This tension makes it hard to achieve regional integration and Pan-Africanist goals. It can therefore be argued that the moral value of nationalism does not easily allow for it to be compatible with Pan-Africanism. Hence, the current divisions within and between countries on the continent and within communities in the diaspora. What am I saying here? There are Africans will naturally tell you that we are Pan-Africanists, but nationalism does not allow us to project that Pan-Africanism. You heard what Professor Aremu said, that Nigeria came late to the table when they were signing the AFTA agreement. Why? Because the president of Nigeria, Buhari, felt that it would be disadvantageous to Nigeria. Nigeria will be a dumping ground for all products coming from other countries in Africa, because we have the funds, we have the population, but we don't have the electricity, we don't have industrialization. And like he said, a Ghanaian could import from China, and then based on the AFTA agreement, ship his goods to Nigeria at a cheaper rate than how it is being produced in Nigeria. So you discover that because of nationalism, every head of state, every country wants to prioritize its nationhood above all else. And that has been the bane of, or the challenge against Pan-Africanism being effective in Nigeria. And that is the present challenge we're having for the AFTA agreement to to be realized or realizable. Again, you heard what Professor Aramu said, because you have to collapse your custom union. You have to collapse your economic union. You have to collapse your trade policies and all of that to fit into AFTA. And if your country is not ready for it, then it can't happen. And how does this affect Agenda 63? Nigeria, for example, is talking about the Lagos-Calabar highway. And there is dissent in the country. So how do we do the Lagos-Gambia highway? How do we do the Nigeria-Namadi train route from between Nigeria and Niger if Nigerians themselves feel that their position, if they allow for these things to happen, will betray our nationalism? Today, you see that South Africa is petitioning Miss Universe against Chidima's participation in the Miss Universe contest. Why? Because they felt it's a slap on their face that somebody from a Nigerian Mozambique lady who was refused to participate in the Miss South Africa contest could come to Nigeria, win it, and then go and represent Nigeria in the Miss Universe context. So how would Pan-Africanism thrive? If South Africa can go the length to prevent a beauty queen from contesting, but the same South Africa will stand before the International Court of Justice to fight for the Palestinians against Israel. So many times you find that nationalist inclination affect the larger Pan-Africanist goals. Historical figures like Nnamdi Azikiwe and Kwame Nkrumah faced this dilemma. While Nnamdi Azikiwe was called the biggest danger of the lot of Pan-Africanism by no less a person than the colonial secretary, Oliver Stanley, he had to bow to the peculiarities of the budding Nigerian state in order not to lose political relevance and possibly the highest office in the land. His posture became that of Zik of Africa to the rest of the world, while in Nigeria, he succumbed to the strong arm of pragmatic regional politics. Nnamdi Azikiwe was probably the biggest threat to the British Empire because he was pulling all of African states together. But in Nigeria, he was not even allowed to sit for election in the Western House because, as the Western people said, he was not a Yoruba. So if within in-country regionalism prevailed over Pan-Africanism, you could imagine what will happen if Nnamdi Azikiwe were a Ghanaian seeking for election in Nigeria. Kwame Nkrumah, even as the head of Ghana's government, continued to champion the quest for regional integration of the whole of the African continent. Between 1958 and 1959, he worked with other African leaders to establish a non-aligned African identity in global affairs by advocating unity between the African states on international relations. Despite his effort, Kwame Nkrumah was viewed with suspicion by many of his contemporaries who regarded him as a megalomaniac whose only real ambition was to rule the entire African continent. That is how they saw him. Oh, he's championing Pan-Africanism because he has a goal. He wants to be the first president of Africa. That's what many other leaders could see. They didn't bother to see the benefits of Pan-Africanism and what Kwame Nkrumah was championing. Many independent African countries opposed Nkrumah's desire for a politically unified Africa because they viewed it as a threat to their national sovereignty and personal ambition. Again, you wonder why somebody like Kwame Nkrumah, who was championing Pan-Africanism, would prefer to go to Russia to buy socialism and communism, because that was part of the threat. That was why even the Western world fought against him. If you're indeed a Pan-Africanist, why not develop an African system of governance? So was he going to transform all of Africa into a socialist continent? This was the fear of the Western world, and that's why they had to sponsor the coup that removed Kwame Nkrumah. And that's why a lot of his contemporaries were even scared of him. So he had a nationalist idea for Ghana, and he wanted to impose that nationalist idea for all of Africa. So you see the contradictions between Pan-Africanism and nationalism. Another name we should look at, the same suspicion was cast upon Muammar Gaddafi of Libya as he tried to promote Pan-Africanism. Muammar Gaddafi was all over Africa promoting Pan-Africanism. He championed the African unity more than his contemporary heads of state, calling for a United States of Africa. Even as his effort brought about the OAU being re-engineered to become the AU, Gaddafi's overbearing presence frustrated the smooth functioning of the AU. He had this overbearing presence. He came to Nigeria, all his bodyguards were female soldiers. He wanted to impose his ideas. He saw himself as the lion of Africa. And a lot of countries were very uncomfortable with that. So his greatest achievement was, okay, let's change the principles of OAU and then re-engineer it to become AU, you know. But even at that, AU could not function. And when the president of Rwanda was made the chairman of the committee that will fully reorganize AU, for 5 years, AU could not function. Why? Because suspicion was transferred to the president of Rwanda. So when you talk of African Pan-Africanism and nationalism, you have to rationale how do we balance it such that it will not just be Africa in the name, but Africa in reality. Even one of their fellow presidents, Julius Nyerere of Tanzania, spoke of the OAU as a committee of dictators, people who never wanted to leave office, people who never sought election in their countries. So how could these same people champion Pan-Africanism? Who amongst these dictators will be the first African president? These were all the things, undertones, why all the instruments of the AU could not function. So the opposing pool of Pan-Africanism and nationalism. So Pan-Africanism is going this way, nationalism is going this way. Or their conflicting goals have prevented a cohesive Afrocentrism or Afrocentrism. Countries want to maintain their independence while superficially promoting African unity. You can see what has just happened between Mali, Burkina Faso, and now they have opted out of a bloc, the ECOWAS bloc. So how would the Regional Economic Council of that is ECOWAS function when 3 of its members have left the bloc? And they left it arbitrarily, without protocol. Whereas when Britain, the UK wanted to leave the European Union, they followed protocol. If you would have heard of Brexit, it took them time to severe or to come out of that EU membership. But in Nigeria, once the head of state decides that he's tired of this kind of relationship, he just breaks out. There's no referendum. There's absolutely nothing to determine whether the country should remain or not. So superficially, everyone is promoting African unity. And that's why Africa is going nowhere. Heads of government want to maintain their sphere of influence over their people, economies, and foreign religious affiliations. There are many countries who would prefer to go with the Islamic community and ignore the rest of Africa. There are those who are clamoring to be members of BRICS and do not care anything about AFTA. So all of these dynamics are affecting African unity. At the end of the day, we have a monolithic Africa or a black identity that takes us nowhere. This has led to inconsistent treaty implementation, ineffective governance, the failure to protect Africans from their homemade tyrants, and the almost lack of relevance of the African Union in addressing key issues and facilitating good governance, human rights adherence, foreign relations for the defense of the Africans from racism and discrimination, and even as a mediator. You can see what is happening between the Israel-Palestinian wars. Even the Middle East countries had to co-opt the African Union to speak on behalf of the Palestinians. The AU has not spoken on behalf of Sudan that is tearing itself apart with the civil war. The AU has not spoken on behalf of the Democratic Republic of Congo that has been fighting perpetual war. But the AU is speaking for the Palestinians. The AU through South Africa, they are championing BRICS. And the BRICS doesn't even have an African name apart from South Africa. It's Brazil, it's Russia, it's India, it's China, and South Africa. But the AU is championing all of that, and you're not hearing anything about the AU in what is happening in the Sahel. Since 1960s, Pan-Africanism has been the platform for advocating political and economic union among African countries. It gained little agreement then amongst its members, and now is struggling for the full support of AFTA. And the AU Agenda 2063, I don't think 90% of the African population have heard, not that they have heard, but they don't understand, but 90% of Africans have not heard of Agenda 2063. So if you have not heard of Agenda 2063, how do you implement Agenda 2063? What will these youths do between now and 2063? Now, this Agenda 2063 took off in 2013. So for 11 years, we are supposed to have been operating Agenda 2063. But it really hasn't started because there's no buy-in from the various states and its population. So to balance Pan-Africanism and nationalism for Africa's development, we must focus on economic stability, effective resource management and unity, We need to revisit the Pan-African philosophy to fight the new enemies called poverty and misrule, knowing that the enemy is no longer slavery or colonialism. Subnationalism and ethno-nationalism have weakened true Pan-Africanism and given rise to countries that find it hard to commit to the AU charter. While we must focus and act on the reasons for which it became necessary for the OAU to transform into AU, and for why it became necessary to fashion the Agenda 2063 AU vision and the after, let us go back to see what we can draw from such instruments that underscored the alliance between Pan-Africanism and nationalism, to see how we can remodel these two philosophies and movements to better the lot of Africans, and once and for all establish what the African identity is to the Gen Z generation, in whose hand is the future of Africa. Most of you are the Gen Z, and I don't think you even understand what the African identity is, because you have not been exposed to it. Over 200 years ago, people moved from Ireland to the US. Today, they still have roots in Ireland. During the Second World War, so many Jews moved to America. And today, the Jewish population of America are still championing, they are lobbying the government of America to continue to build Israel. All through the 40s and 50s and 60s, Arabs have, and up to today, Arabs are migrating to Europe and to America, and they have not forgotten the Middle East. The Indians, the Pakistanis practically own the UK today, especially London, where an Arab man is the mayor of London. But their focus is to take their culture to these places and also use Europe and America to impact the Middle East, to impact India, to impact Pakistan. However, the black man leaves his country or jackpats out of his country and goes into purposeful slavery. Why does he go into purposeful slavery? Because he has no African identity. All he thinks of is, how do I remit monies to my fathers in Africa? Nothing to do with African development. I will just rush this and then have you to read them. Let me just go to that part of my paper, because I hear that the students are supposed to be closing now. That's the secondary school class. So, but I want them to hear this and then I will close. We need a paradigm shift in how we approach African integration and global relations, focusing on unity, solidarity, self-determination, and a collective consciousness for the future of Africa. With this in mind, it is crucial to clearly define the role, outline the modus operandi, and craft a roadmap for how the African youth can participate in the economic integration of Africa. Here's a truth we need to face. The unity and prosperity of Africans, both on the continent and in the diaspora, is not a priority for any other race or region. Sadly, it is not even a priority for our African governments. So what do we do? The African youth must understand that they must forge their own path without becoming beggars, harlots, or suggestible puppets for foreign powers. They must shape and direct their own destiny. So you have to direct your own destiny. Unlike some elders, they must respect life and decency, because most of our elders don't respect life and decency in Africa. The youth must fight for good governance and champion it at all levels of society, because it is becoming harder to find elders that have conscience or vision or are of stellar quality. If the youths leave the elders to their ways, listen carefully, if you leave your elders to their ways, history may repeat itself with elders who sold vibrant youth into slavery, elders who served as agents of neocolonialism, undermining the gains of independence, elders who have been non-committal to the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, but would rather ship our stolen national wealth overseas to the detriment of the African economy. With this in mind, the youth must be prepared to take his or her destiny into their hands. The internet and social media are powerful platforms to facilitate the integration of African youth, fostering cultural, entrepreneurial, and educational linkages. The ability to connect instantly and build a Pan-African e-network across the continent and diaspora could hasten the rise of a collective African identity. Instead of focusing on political revolution, which carries seeds of anarchy and social trauma, I support the idea that African youth should use entrepreneurship, culture, in quotes, in brackets, music, fashion, travels, food, tourism, technology, innovation, twinning, diplomacy, and the research and understanding of shared African history for the furtherance of Pan-Africanist philosophy. The African Young Diplomats Forum provides a platform for discerning African youth to make a difference in the economic integration of Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So we'd like to present your award of appreciation. So we want to appreciate you, sir. You've been very helpful to us in formulating everything that is happening today. You've guided us, you've advised us, and so today we want to appreciate you deeply as our statutory board member. Thank you very much, sir, for all you do. God bless you. Thank you, sir. I should still call. All right, so we're going to move along quickly. Next, we're going to present the awards, the certificates of merit for the schools that participated, and would like to ask the representative of the Olori of Warri, Madam Ogechi Ezeobiora, to come present the awards. So first for the secondary schools, Model Secondary School Maitama. Can we have a representative, please? Model Secondary School. Thank you very much, madam. Next up, Nile University.
Now University. Thank you very much, sir. And next, the School of Action VP, Britac Schools. She's not around. Somebody will, she can come. Britac Schools. All right, thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you. All right, so we're going to go quickly through the goodwill messages. 5 minutes, please, so that we've already overshot our time. But even if you see the secondary school children leaving, we still have lots of youth in the hall. The students of Now University and University of Abuja will still be in the hall. So never mind, we will still get to the secondary school children where they are. Thank you very much. So first, can we have Brigadier General Oloho, please? Thank you very much. He's a consultant to the Nigerian Army Museum. Thank you, sir.
Secondary school children are living, and these are the people that need this message most. Control. Distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's afternoon already. Hi, Tebusa. I am going to give a goodwill message to the leaders of tomorrow. Just like you said, sir, many of the things we do wrongly. And for you out there, do not imitate everything we do. I have a 13-year-old daughter. My last seed, yes, my last seed, the type of questions this young girl will ask gives my brain going. I must think. To it, African Young Diplomat Forum 2024 on the agenda 2063, the Africa we want, by my humble self. Just look at the PhD and forget about the DSS, MSS, FSS. If they tell you, you won't live here. Good. You can see those two photographs there. When I was a child and as a young soldier. Keep your photographs because you need them for references and for other reasons. I read, I find it imperatively necessary to thank the organizers of this very important summit for inviting me to speak to our tomorrow's leaders. I am Brigadier General O.L. Oloko, retired, a PhD holder, a consultant to the Nigerian Army Museum in Abuja. I retired in 2019 after serving Nigeria for 37 years, 21 days without blemish. I came into the army at the age of 15 and I rose through the rank till I got to the rank of Brigadier General. So you can do it. I will start by telling you what two people I value most in my life. One is gone, one is alive. Gani Odutoku, my supervisor at ABU in 1995, I did my master's. And the one that supervised me for my PhD program is the present VC of Ladoke Akintola University, Professor Rom Khalidu. And I could say, do not allow your present situation determine how far you will go in life. I was the son of a soldier, a sergeant, 3 stripes. My father. What made me to come into the army? I took food to him in his duty post. And they told him to hold his ears, and they doubled him. I looked at my father and I said, this job, I will come in and I will get to the rank of this young man who did this to my father. And I got to that rank in 1996. 96 to this time is how long? So many years. I was a captain in 1996. I surpassed it and got to the rank of Brigadier General in 2019. So you can do so many things. Do not allow your present situation shake you. We are all born to contribute to our own quota, human development and nation building. It's a process with time, better management, tenacity, doggedness to remain steadfast in getting the Africa we want in a few years' time. My message will, among others, inspire, motivate, encourage you towards positivity, empowerment, and guidance. Look at these photographs. They are dear to me. You will have situations in your life, your marriages. Look at this young, tomorrow's leader who came before us here. They were so happy. They were presented with awards. They will keep it. Tomorrow, one of them will become the governor of the state or minister of Federal Capital Territory. I will show to them, I was honored. I did this. That photograph you see was when I got married in 1999, 16th October. The second one was when I was honored. The son of a sergeant rose to the rank of a general. And after 5 years, we were sent for and they pulled me out. We call it pulling out ceremony. It's only meant for generals. If you come into the service and you don't rise to the rank of a general, you will not be pulled out. I got that opportunity, the son of a sergeant. Now, I will just hit this point like a boxer that I am. Don't forget, there will be special dates, special moments in your career and life. Know these dates and keep them for posterity. Your children will need them for references. I showed somebody my father's and mother's wedding in 1964. I told her, I said, do not allow your husband to say there is no need for wedding. After traditional stuff, we don't need wedding. When I showed her, she said, I said, do not be deceived. Let your husband take you to the altar. This is my own father and mother's wedding in 1964. Don't be deceived, young men and women. Listen to advices from those who know it more than you and even those you think you know more than. Talk less and listen more. Look at this. The son of a sergeant is being honored with his wife. Out, they are pulling me out. And I'm taking salute at the quarter guard. Plan for everything. Obey rules. Be calm in challenging situations. You will definitely have them. Loyal to constituted authority. Be ready for surprises in different forms. You will meet them. You will deserve something and it will not be given to you. It's a surprise. You will be in a place and you'll be called to be honored without your preparation for it. That is surprise. Be organized always. For everything in the Nigerian army, we plan for everything. We plan to eat. We plan parade. Everything, plan and be organized. Look at this. The logos of the Nigerian army. Look at 7 and 8. It is to my credit. I designed it for the Nigerian army. Don't forget, yes, that all you do is documented. They say the brain and of recent internet does not forget. Avoid actions that will harm your reputation because it will be difficult to get it back. Observe your environment and be security conscious. Be prudent and prioritize things. Is it the wig of 1 million naira you need or good books? Prioritize things. Do not be a follower of trends and happenings. That was me when I left service in 2019. You saw how I came in, a boy. I did not allow my situation to bother me. So those of you who are not from schools, they pay 10, 15 million naira. Don't let where you are disturb you. Look forward and say, one General Locke spoke to us. I will do more than him. I will surpass him because he told us he's from a home and the father is a sergeant. Learn and practice morality. Morality is a major problem. Believe in yourself. Be creative and self-reliant. Do not do drugs. Mind your company. Be humble and calculative. Be patient with life. Do not fall short in your behavior at all times. It is more difficult to tender public apologies with shame than behave well. See what is happening. People who are supposed to behave well are misbehaving in the public. Then they come back to their senses and they are apologizing to people who are not ready to listen to them. When you misbehave in the public and you come and start shedding crocodile tears, nobody will listen to you. So be very careful at all times. Don't be a racist. I was in Liberia for United Nations mission, mingled with so many people from different parts of the country. If you don't train to be a better person, you will regret all through. According to Professor Adedoyin of the University of Ilorin, the wife to General Media is late, may so rest in peace. I quote, she said, "Do not give up, continue to push and don't discriminate." Look at this photograph. All these things are brought here is to encourage you, to tell you you can do more. That photograph you're seeing, that was Major General David Hills, the commandant of the US War College. He visited here, this place you are, and I took him round. Look at him when he was going. Now I tell you today, manage your anger. Those who are misbehaving is because they could not manage their anger. Always hope for the best. Read in between the lines. So many things will not be written down for you. There is nowhere in this hall that they say, those of you there should not just walk here. But you know it, it's not written anywhere that a student should just walk here and pick a seat. So many rules, laws will not be written. Use your emotional intelligence. It must be properly used for peace with different kinds of human beings. Be a strategic thinker with foresight. Your decision will make or reduce you. Be very careful in making choices. Look at this. These are photographs of visits. Set goals and be responsible. Take a good position in your relationship with individuals and groups. Honor your parents and keep your family name. My family name is Oloko. I am not Oloko. I didn't even know him, but it's a big name in Delta State. Madam, I bow. Our king. Please clap for her and clap for the king. The sky is wide enough for everyone, here and elsewhere. Be ready for conflict situations and how to manage them effectively. Be a solution provider and not a clog in the wheel of progress. Be financially disciplined. I'm retired. I get my salary as a retired general, 100%. And I am also paid here the salary of a general, 100%, as a consultant. So what is my problem? If I had not behaved well, I will not get to where I am. Manage your finances very well. Don't be broke like a peasant. Yeah. Look at these photographs. That was General Tuku Yusuf Buratai giving me that award. The one on the extreme there, that was my son. That's my son in the military school. He finished from the military school. Now, accept mistakes when they occur and learn to say, I am sorry to those up, your peers, and those below you. Some of us find it very difficult to tell the younger ones, I am sorry. At times I say some nasty things to my children. I'll tell them, I'm sorry. My daughter will go to meet the mother. Can you imagine? Daddy's begging me. Yes, I am sorry. Please learn. We, the adults, should learn to say we are sorry to the younger generation when we offend them. Be mindful of technology. It will give you a lot of pain, especially the internet. Be careful. And I want to tell you here that your dreams are achievable only when you work hard with a lot of determination. Cultivate the habit of adding value to any place you find yourself. I'll just give you some of the things I did by the grace of God. Boxing, 1985. A member of the four-man team that fabricated the first Nigerian Army outdoor broadcasting van. I was a camp commandant 25 years ago in Paiku. Maybe any of the copper here, that person will be old now. I designed the logo, as I told you, 7 and 8 division and that of Super Green. I donated a life-size fiber sculpture of a soldier in action to the Nigerian Army Museum. And I contributed effectively when I was a member of the NYSC governing board. I was a member of NYSC governing board. So many of the reforms you see in here, I contributed. This was what I told you. I donated a vehicle to the Nigerian military school. I donated 10 bicycles. I donated 5 magic boards to the Nigerian military school. Why did I do this? This is a school that trained my children. When you go there, you stay for 6 years. 2 of my children stayed 6 years there. So I should contribute to that school. This is me here giving lectures. And when we had an Italian artillery officer visited the museum, I established the first history hall in Command Secondary School in Abakaliki. I commanded the centenary parade in Liberia. When Liberia became 100 years, the son of a sergeant, Paul me standing before you, I commanded that parade. And a flag was given to me. And I donated the flag to the museum so that my children, when I'm gone, will not say, no, they want to sell this flag. I know they won't do that. They're good children. So I said, okay, before you say you want to sell a flag that your father commanded, put it in the museum. So it's there. Accepting to give my service to the Nigerian Army as a consultant after retirement and others is something I cherish. There are people who were called back. They refused. They said they are not coming because they are angry the way they left service. So be grateful at all times. Wherever you find yourself. Let me tell you something shocking. I was to be made the Director General NYSC 2 days. They were just waiting for the announcement and I was retired. 2 days to becoming DG NYSC, Nigeria. I was retired, but I still thank God and I'm happy. So for every wrong thing that happens to you, say, God, I thank you. It would have been worse. Am I speaking? Now, they need to know that only those who love you will care about you and advise you accordingly. I love you. That's why I'm doing this to you. Make use of every opportunity that comes your way and prepare for the evening time, old age. Did I not prepare for my old age? I did from my story. Because my salary as a general is complete 100%. It's not like half. If you didn't serve up to the 35 maximum, I served more than 35 years. I came in at the age of 15. So my salary is 100%. Then the other one they are paying me again is 100%. What is my problem? My problem is to behave well, which I will continue to do. These are my paintings. All these paintings you've seen, they are my paintings. I did them. You can see my name there. Yes. So go into hobbies. You are a doctor, yes. That does not say you cannot be a painter. That does not say you cannot be a sculptor. Diversify. Entrepreneurship. If we have a medical doctor here, and she now says, give me a guitar, and she uses the guitar to give you a very melodious tune, you will look at her differently. You say, Kai, this doctor now with difference. I'm a soldier. I've served with the artillery, I've served with the armor, I've served with the ST. If you see me in the jungle, you will not know it's a small person in front of you. I was in the Northeast for 3.5 years. I never saw my wife. I went to Liberia 1 year. I never saw my wife. Make a good choice when you're looking for a woman. Same to the ladies here. Because if people like us do not have good wives, I won't be talking with you this morning. I'll be thinking of my home. I want to thank you all. God bless you.
Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to our general, that is powerful. Our brigadier general, powerful. I want to be one, sir. Mahmoud. Sir, that was powerful, extremely powerful. And we want to promise you that in Africa Young Diplomat Forum, we will follow the narrative. We will not be proud, but we will be obedient. and we will approach matters through diplomatic channels, and we will get to the heart of our fathers. We will not sell your flag. We will keep it strongly, and will preserve the heritage. Thank you very much, sir. Once again, we appreciate you. Sir, we would like to honor you, sir, for being part of this opportunity, this great work. And let me say this, sir, while I was away, my partner here could tell me everything that you did for today to be possible. We are, sir, you are one of the fathers, and we respect you so much. There is something that you said that caught my attention, and on behalf of African Young Diplomat Forum, we will do something. You said you donated vehicles and bicycles to the school. Okay, let me say, I only have, my brother was a retired army, and I wasn't encouraged because he retired without a star. So I wasn't encouraged without a star. Okay, yes. So when I was in NYSC, I met with the captain who said that he would like me to become a military person. But I told him that I love to be a diplomat. Okay, so sir, but your story has really inspired us, and God will bless you with longer of prosperity and strength. Sir, on behalf of Africa Young Diplomat Forum, we present you with this award of recognition and appreciation. Thank you very much for everything. And we will try to call on you when we are ready to donate something to the Nigerian Army, and then you will be our father that will facilitate us to that place. Thank you very much, sir. We love you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So you will beat me for you.
You will permit me to say one thing after this photograph. Just one, because of this thing.
You are permitted.
Thank you very much for that.
Welcome, sir.
Please, sir. When they call you here, something struck me. You know what? Listen there! My mother is from Australia. Wow.
Wow.
Nice.
No, not just three.
Yeah.
When I had said
Thank you very much, sir. That's our country manager from Sierra Leone, Fatimatu Jallo. All right, next we'll have other goodwill messages. We'll start with National Productivity Center. Why do I keep saying council? National Productivity Center. I would like to crave your indulgence, ma, 2 minutes, so that way. Thank you very much. And after that, National Orientation Agency. And then after they're done, Ambassador Dr. Piero. Thank you.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I beg to stand on the existing protocol. Can I bring it down here? I bring the goodwill of my Director General, Dr. Baffa Bapa Dan Agundi. It's a pleasure to be here on behalf of the National Productivity Center for this auspicious occasion, in a critical partner in the Nigerian Productivity Development Initiative. This prestigious program put together young minds from all walks of life, committed to raising the next generation for the possibilities that lies ahead. This is highly commendable and appreciated by the National Productivity Center. The National Productivity Center being the apex productivity organization in Nigeria with the mandate of improving national levels of productivity, quality of goods and services for the enhancement of the standard of living through productivity movement and initiatives, embraces this conference. To the organizers, we wish to say, this esteemed, highly commendable program is something we really appreciate. And we feel that is something we would like to partner with you on. Therefore, we want to use this forum to request that, that productivity and its application is mainstreamed into this agenda, without which we cannot overcome our challenges and harness our opportunity. The center therefore pledges to give all the support to this program, which should transcend this conference. I would like to thank the organizers for inviting the center for this partnership and conference with the platform, which is served as a platform for promoting productivity and quality. I would like to say that the journey of productivity begins with the consciousness of the mind, the mentality of progress, the need for us as individuals to have the thinking that it is we that can do better for ourselves, and then collectively we'll do better for the nation. I wish to use this forum to encourage all of us to be productive, to have productivity consciousness in our attitudes, in our actions, especially the youth. Productivity is the only key to the national economic growth and development we all seek as a nation. So it must be imbibed by all, and most especially our youth. I wish to thank you all for being here and encourage that we should all be productive in all our endeavors. Thank you very much.
National Orientation Agency. Secondary school students have to leave because of closing, but we still have powerful youth dynamics. Yes.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of my Director General, Malan Larry Issa Onelu, I'm standing here to read his goodwill message to this very important gathering. But I think it's very lengthy, so let me just cut it and commend you for a job well done. Whatever written takes, but I'll hand it over to our guy here so that she can document it. He is wishing you well and commended your effort very well. And also want to use this medium to inform you that the agency has been revamped. We are doing a lot of wonderful things. There are a lot of innovation under his own leadership. We have various channels for which you can reach government to say your needs and want, and government will do what they can do for you. We also want to inform you that we have an AI app known as the Clean. She is there to give you unlimited information about government activities. We also create a mobilizer app where you can say what you really want and you make suggestions to government. And we also want to tell you that we've introduced a policy that will give Nigerians definition, and the document is what we gave you there, the National Identity Project. That is trying to give Nigerians definition. If you read through, it will soon be launched. You are privileged because of my Madam Valentina. We gave you this document before it's even released. It's all because of her. So I think we may need to say for NOA. So if you read through, you see there is a lot of things that are okay, but we should understand that as a diplomat, we need to do things that are in the best interest of our continent. We need to see how we can enhance our economy so that we will not be depending on foreign countries. We are well rich, endowed with a lot of resources, gold, diamond, mention. God will help us. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Piero. Thank you.
Permit me to stand on the existing protocol. They said the best is saved for the last. I don't know how to actually say it, but I doff my heart for you. Yeah, if you're below 26 years, I want to talk to you. 13 years ago, I was nominated for an award in Lisbon
by the former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that's Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, GCFR. I got there when they started reading the profile. When they read my profile, there was standing ovation in the hall that the award is coming to Nigeria. But you know why I lost that award? I was 30 years at that day. And they gave the award to a 26-year-old boy. And tears gushed up my eyes. And I said, if only these people knew where I'm coming from. 13 years I was in the streets fighting for survival. I only got the opportunity to go to school when I was 20. I got admission, as at that time, I was 30 years, and that was when I got admission into university. But I have this thing in mind, that nothing changes a man until the man changes self. The discovering of self for everyone here is a bet for leadership. And I want to use this opportunity to ask everyone below 26 to stand up on their feet. While we do this with faith. If you're here, you're already a leader. Say, it is time for Africa. Say it louder. It is time for Africa. If you're older than 26 and you believe that it is time for Africa, you can join them and say this. It is time for Africa. I am an African. I am an African. Not because I am black. Not because I have other color. Because Africa is born in me. And I take responsibility. The future is now. The Africa we want.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, university, a few words. Thank you.
The moderator, ladies and gentlemen, mine is not a speech, and I just want to say a word of appreciation. My name is Dr. Dimas Garba, the head of the Department of Political Science and International Relations, Nile University of Nigeria. I am very much delighted for the opportunity given to my students by AYDF to participate in this diplomatic simulation. It has been my long aspiration to see that beyond the borders, corners of the classroom, that my students have a touch with reality of diplomacy. And AYDF has given me this opportunity to connect them with this reality by not only seeing how diplomatic processes are conducted, but also to seeing the future that they aspire for. Africa is our continent, and there is no place other than Africa. When my brother was talking, I was in the UK for my master's, and most of my colleagues were, I won't come back to Nigeria. And I said, I am coming back to Nigeria. God has a reason for why I'm in Africa, and I have a contribution to make. Like I always tell my students, the world belongs to all of us. The leadership of our continent is not by birth, it's by aspiration, determination, and discipline, like the Brigadier General has said. Ma, you have done a very wonderful thing in the life of these young individuals. On behalf of my university, I want to appreciate you for this recognition, and for the young ones that have gotten these awards, and for myself as well, because in the university, we're in the business of research, and we know that there is no development without research. Any policy is bound to fail if it is not research driven. On regional integration, I'm happy that I have written about 4 articles on Africa and regional integration, the challenges. I have written on Nigeria's contribution to regional integration, its recent performance, and the way forward. I've also written on the challenges of implementation of the Africa single currency, and a lot more. I love Africa. I've also written on Nelson Mandela. If you check on the internet, you see my articles. I am happy that while we teach the students, they now see what we teach them in the class. Thank you so very much for this opportunity, and God bless you. Thank you.
All right, we are about to be enlightened. We've been making grave errors, and that's why we have the National Orientation Agency here. Have the floor, sir. Thank you.
Sorry, please. I had to beg for a little time to clear over a little mistake we had done. This national anthem that we recited was okay, but it has been approved now. The first stanza, that's why we gave you this copy, should be the only aspect that you read, you recite during gathering like this. The three will be done when doing National Independence Day, democracy, or every other major occasions. That was when you recite all. Then the third stanza is the national prayer. It will be recited. And that's at the beginning of the occasion. Closing prayers is the national pledge. We are trying to unite ourselves. So this is just the error. Please, let's just try to remember where to do the first stanza and this one. So no hand for me, please. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you. I like such I like such opportunities like this. It brings enlightenment. So finally, we would hear from our colleague from Sierra Leone. She has a word from one of our huge supporters. Okay, maybe I just need to say it. So he's of blessed memory now. He was meant to be here, but he had already bought his ticket, everything, he had written his speech. Unfortunately, he got into a ghastly accident. You know, I think our colleague there got a hold of his speech and she's going to read it to us. Thank you.
Good afternoon, all. I'm Fatma Tujalo, and I'm from Sierra Leone, and I'm the Sierra Leone representative. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate you. AYDF appreciate you. So today I'm here to honor the memory of the great Mr. Prince Charles Coker. He was the chairman for all political parties in Sierra Leone. And he was kind, generous, and he was a selfless person, always willing to lend a helping hand and offer support when needed. He was a friend, mentor, and inspiration to so many, and his passing leaves a void. So just like how my colleague have said, a few weeks ago, I had the pleasure to meet with Prince Charles Coker and presented a letter of invitation for this conference we are having here today. He took the letter from my hand and was happy about it because he was so invested in the organization and wanted it to work out for us. He will always leave advice like, know that you face challenges, but never give up because nothing comes easily. So he later promised to cancel all his other trips to be in attendance here today. He went ahead and bought his ticket, sent it to me just to reassure us that he'll be here 3 weeks ago. And he was pronounced dead upon arrival at the hospital. So he was unable to get here. So of course, he'll be missed deeply. But before that, he wrote a speech and he sent the speech to me, but it was not a good one. It's something related to the theme. And on his behalf, I'm here to read it to us. So, Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, overcome the challenges and harnessing opportunities for Africa economic integration. He says, Africa is a continent with immense potential for economic growth and development. However, one of the biggest challenges it faces is harnessing opportunities for economic integration is the lack of infrastructure. In many African countries, there is a severe shortage of roads, ports, and other key infrastructure that is essential for trade and commerce to thrive. Another challenge is the prevalence of political instability and conflict in many parts of Africa. This not only hampers economic growth, but also creates barriers to regional cooperation and integration. Without peace and stability, it is difficult for countries in Africa to work together towards common economic goals. Further change of culture, languages, and economic system, making it difficult to coordinate economic integration efforts across the continent. This diversity can lead to dispute over trade, policies, investment regulations, and other issues that are essential for effective economic integration. Despite these challenges, there are opportunities for Africa to overcome them and achieve greater economic integration by investing in infrastructure, promoting peace and stability, and fostering cooperation among countries. Africa could create a more conducive environment for economic growth and development. However, while Africa faces significant challenges in harnessing opportunities for economic integration, there is also a great potential for the continent to overcome these obstacles and achieve greater prosperity by addressing the issues of infrastructure, political instability, and cultural diversity.
Africa can pave a way for a more integrated and sustainable economic future. Africa is a continent with immense potential for economic growth and development. However, in order to realize this potential, it must address the challenges it faces and seize the opportunity that economic integration can bring. One of the key challenges that Africa faces is the fragmented market. Inter-African trade remains low compared to other regions, with a significant portion of trade being conducted with non-African countries. This lack of integration inhibits the continent's ability to harness economic of scale and promote specialization, leading to missed opportunities for growth. To overcome this challenge, Africa must prioritize regional integration efforts. This includes implementing policies that facilitate the movement of goods, services, and people to create a more conducive environment for trade. The African Continental Free Trade Area is a step in the right direction, aiming to create a single market for goods and services across the continent. By fully implementing and leveraging the potential of the AfCFTA, Africa can strengthen its position as a competitive player in the global economy. Additionally, Africa must invest in infrastructure development to improve connectivity both within the continent and the rest of the world. This includes investing in transportation network, energy infrastructure, and digital connectivity to reduce costs and increase efficiency in movement of goods and services. Improved infrastructure will also attract investments and encourage economic growth, creating more opportunities for business people across the continent. Moreover, Africa must prioritize human capital development to ensure that to participate in a globalized economy. This includes investing in education and training programs that promote entrepreneurship, innovation, and digital literacy. By empowering its people with the tools they need to succeed, Africa can drive economic growth and create opportunities for all its citizens. In conclusion, Africa has the potential to overcome its challenges and harness the opportunities for economic integration. By prioritizing regional integration, investing in infrastructure development, and promoting human capital development, Africa can create a more inclusive and prosperous future for its people. With concerted effort and collaboration, Africa can emerge as a strong and competitive player in the global economy. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you very much. Next, we're going to give the awards of appreciation. And can we have the honor, sir? Yes, sir. So first to receive the certificates of appreciation is the National Productivity Center. Thank you very much. Yes, ma. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for honoring us with your presence today. Thank you. Sorry, yeah. Next is the National Orientation Agency.
I hope we're taking it to Takwa.
Thank you for all you do, and we look forward to. Thank you. You join. Oh, yes, sir. Next, we'd like to appreciate Ambassador Dr. Young Pierrot. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you, sir. Thank you for all you do. Okay.
Next, we have 2 schools in Cameroon that in Sierra Leone I would like to appreciate. There are pioneers, members. Yes. So first is the International School, Jomo Kenyatta Road. They received by our country manager. And the next is Modern High School of Jomo Kenyatta Road. Thank you very much. So, sir, if I can ask, so this is the award for appreciation and recognition. We want to thank you again for all you do and all you continue to do for us. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so this is for, I don't know if, I'm not sure if most of them are still here, but certificate of attendance for the observers. You were not forgotten. So we are glad you came, and we know that at the next simulation, you would join us. So if you're here, as you hear your name, just come out. Iyife Adebulugbe. Around. Bello Ahmad Bature. Louis Adalin. Are they here? Peter Maxwell. Ahmad Jafar Waziri. Adams Amirat. Whitney Ewo. Lawal Modupe. Solagberu Memuna. Hawa Abubakar. Kelly Ibiang. They're around. Check, confirm. So your awards of participation, you would pick them up at the secretariat so that we, all right. So we'll do the,
came, we started with planting of cucumber. Our students did the planting. So my greatest surprise, within 2 months and 2 weeks, we have started harvesting cucumber in Don Domingos College.
My technology will be solving the case of reduction of inequality in the community. So people living with visual impairment are oftentimes sidelined in every aspect of life, be it educational or economically. So technology I'll be advising will be more of an ebook reader that will aid people living with visual impairment to read any book content, be it newspapers, be it history books, business books, so they can gain knowledge from that book and be able to participate alongside their sighted peers across every aspect, be it in economical status or educational background.
Anticipating to be the winner. Okay, like, okay, maybe I may reach the finalists, but not the actual winner.
1 million. Yeah, 1 million from my family. Where it come from? It's not a lot of worry. Like, they are not even know how to come up for the market.
Welcome to Established Heart. Thank you all so much. God bless you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
We heard about this WUWU or medical free outreach and came from the River Rhine area. I want to use this medium to thank the Olu of Warri Atuashe, the third, and his wife, Olori.
I can't hear this news on radio say Atuashe, the third Olori. Why they do free medical for anything, body check-up, anything. And this my pikin, so you don't get this appendix reach like 1 year plus when I don't discover am. I dey find Apo when I would say I never fit get time. Ma who do I make come out? As I can't hear this, I can't run go general the cottage clinic. So they take clamp with for my hand, they do am. If they successful, may God help me help Olori.
We heard of this medical outreach that is coming from Olu of Warri's wife and his group, and I was here, I attended, and thank God by God's glory, they attend to me, and today they have done the cataract that has been worrying me for the past 8 years. I tried to manage it, but now I am free, they've done it, I can see well. I thank God for this foundation. I thank God for the life of Olu of Warri. What you are doing in Warri has been great.
Access to quality education is the right of every child. And Royal Warrior Foundation, the humanitarian arm of Ogiame Atuwashi III and Olori Atuwashi III, together they are championing STEM education in Delta State. This second cohort of the STEM Hub Bootcamp isn't just bigger. We have also put into consideration the need for continuing education for the first cohort who were able to encounter and teach in April of this year. For this second cohort, we've also made an additional space available for 25 more kids. Yes. So in total, we have welcomed 50 children from across neighboring communities.
Hey there, future leaders of Africa. Ready to make a difference in the world? If you're passionate about diplomacy and international relations and global citizenship, then the Young Diplomats Club is just what you're looking for. This club, powered by the African Diplomats Forum, is all about empowering the next generation of Africans. And that means you. Junior, secondary school, university, or your profession, there's a place for you here. No matter where you are in West Africa or in the diaspora, we are building a community of young Africans who are ready to shape the continent's future. Get excited for activities like international diplomatic simulations, thought-provoking debates, insightful workshops, cultural exchange programs, community service projects, and the chance to learn from top diplomats through guest lectures and online sessions. Joining us is a breeze. Just register online, pay the membership fee, and attend a quick orientation session, either in person or online. Here's a call to young leaders.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Because future applications are open.
Right about now,
What are you waiting for?
we're going to be bringing
For more information,
this conference to a close. But before then, this is very important for us as young diplomats.
Or by phone.
We want to appreciate everyone that have made time out to be here today.
606 +447.
All the schools that are present, I understand that our secondary school have to leave, they have to go because it's closing time, and we want them to be responsive and responsible, and to also be time conscious in their day-to-day life. And because they are still very much younger, we have to allow them to go. But you know, we still have on the seat the University of Abuja and the 9 University. And now it is time for us to officially declare that we are establishing and starting the Young Diplomats Club at all the schools that are present and that took part during the simulation process. Permit me to say this, even in diplomacy there is partiality, but it is called diplomatic partiality. I'm going to use some of these words as a young diplomat. So for 9 University, we are officially saying to you that we are starting and launching Young Diplomats Club in your school, and your school, for me, is a go-to for African Young Diplomats Club.
Either in person or online.
We will respect the relationship and partnership, and we direct other higher institutions to learn from your wealth of experience. And then we will also appreciate your contribution towards the success of African Young Diplomats Forum Conference. Thank you very much, 9 University. Our love, our regards, our greetings to the Vice Chancellor, the management, the Senate, and the board, the entire board. Especially, I am a graduate of International Relations and Diplomacy, so I am giving a special regards to the HOD seated. He's my HOD. Thank you very much, sir. And to our student from University of Abuja, we are also saying thank you. We are officially launching Young Diplomats Club in your school as well. At a later time, we will be paying an advocacy visit to each of these schools, where we'll be having a special session and celebration of launching with your schools. And we want to assure you, like I told my partner, and she made the announcement to us, that we will be having the next conference for Africa Youth Day exhibition and award ceremony in Sierra Leone, which is coming up November 1st, 2025. And we'll be having it in Sierra Leone, and we are ready to support your participation in Sierra Leone. We will do everything possible to work with your school, with the authority, and to work with everyone that will be involved to make your travel to Sierra Leone smooth. We will be working to make this possible. When we say we are diplomats, take my word, take it that we are really diplomats. And we will tour the diplomatic channel to ensure that your participation and your voice as Nigeria in Sierra Leone will be heard and will not be silent. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your participation. Thank you very much for making time out to create this occasion. I leave you with this word. When we talk about Africa we want, you need to begin to think critically about the Africa you have. Now, by extension, coming back home, think about the Nigeria you want and think about the Nigeria of your dream. I always tell people, I live in the UK, but I am investing in Africa, especially in Nigeria. I live in the UK. If you talk nothing about Nigeria or Africa, I'm going to become your enemy. I don't allow you to talk less about my country or about my continent. It is very imperative and important for us to begin to project our image beyond what it is today. And I leave you with this word as you go. Together we aspire, together we achieve, together we can make great things happen. As young diplomats, for we will keep to this promise, for we will work together, for we will abide as one, and together we will make Nigeria and Africa proud again. Thank you very much and God bless you. We love you all. Thank you very much.
Just to register online, pay the membership fee, and attend a quick orientation session, either in person or online. Here is a call to young leaders who are ready to shape
all right.
Africa's.
Shall we rise up as we recite the national pledge of Nigeria as we close?
Together, let's make a
It's very important.
For more information.
Wow, we still have. We are very happy. Our board of trustees, they are also happy. Yeah. Shall we recite the national pledge of Nigeria? 1, 2, go. I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to reform my strength, to defend our unity, and uphold and honor and glory. So help me God. Amen. Thank you very much. Give us a
We are the hope of our nation, the future of our generation.